mouth. Balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth. Don't swim in the ocean. You'll get balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth. Don't swim in the ocean. You'll get balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth. Don't swim in the ocean. You'll get balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth. Swim in the ocean. You'll have balls in your mouth. Go ahead. Balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth. Don't swim in the ocean. You'll get balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth. Don't swim in the ocean. You'll get balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth. Don't swim in the ocean. You'll get balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth. Don't swim in the ocean. You'll get balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth. Don't swim in the ocean. You'll get balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth. Don't swim in the ocean. You'll get balls in your
Whoa, there he is.
John Cena, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice to have you out here.
What's so long talking speculative?
Yeah.
We're just trying to break down everything going down on SmackDown Live tonight, but I mean, the way that we went off the air tonight with you holding up that championship, I mean, that message that you were trying to send to AJ and to Dean Ambrose.
And to the WWE Universe, usually that's like a jinx. You
Yeah.
know, I'm really, I've made it a point at this point in my career. I've done a lot. I've been part of a lot here at the WWE, and at times I have the opportunity to actually face my mortality. I know that I'm not getting any younger, and I realize that I'm so close to tying such a historic landmark that people for years said would never be broken. It's almost like the streak; it will never end. I decided to make this a goal of mine, and I was watching an extremely competitive championship match, studying my opponents, but enjoying it like the rest of the WWE Universe. I got clocked in the face by both guys, so I had to let them know that, like, hey, man, I'm in this triple threat too, and I'm not just in it. I'm in it to win.
So for you to be chasing this 16-time WWE Championship, I mean, where does that come in the ranks? I mean, from everything else you've been able to achieve,
Well,
to now have to set the
when you
bar.
see a record like that, especially something that has been standing for such a long time, it certainly stirs a lot of opinion up. And typically, an athlete or someone approaching a milestone like that, well, I don't have my mind on it. I'm just kind of focused day by day. Well, I know that I have a championship match, and my goal is to win that championship match and win the championship. And if I achieve my goal, then I make history. So for me to skate around the issue, for me to dodge the question of, hey, is the 16 time in the back of your mind? It's not. It's in the forefront, because that is my goal. It's not like an athlete trying to win a game or win a Super Bowl to get the MVP. I want to win the Super Bowl and have the most Super Bowl wins in Super Bowl history. So I really want to be in that conversation with all I've done. Everyone, especially with the new era, and everybody talks about their struggle to get you. I have had an enormous, very fortunate career here in the WWE, and to leave at 15. You know, it's right there. It's not like I don't have a chance. And full disclosure, because this is Talking Smack, I know the Raw Championship is heavily protected. That is thoroughly in the hands of the authority. And over on Raw, I kind of knew, like, all right, that's in the back of my mind, because that ain't never happened again. Yeah. And then I come to the land of opportunity. And you say opportunity for new guys. It's an opportunity for me as well. If I'm good enough, I can get put in a championship match and get a chance to make history. So an old guy gets an opportunity.
So not only are you getting that opportunity again at No Mercy, but like you've been saying, I mean, just people are kind of, doubters, wondering where you're coming from, having these new guys stepping in a position.
She's trying to skirt around the issue.
I know, I'm trying to get to it. I got winded.
Last week, I'm sure you heard what Dean Ambrose said. Last week? Yeah. He called you a part-timer. And not
lazy part-timer.
Not just a part-timer.
I'm not
a lazy
anything.
part-timer.
Well, I often try to stay high when they hit low. I think the lazy. I think my resume speaks for itself.
Yeah, I can't imagine anybody calling you lazy.
As with anybody trying to put together their own truth or their own motivation, yeah, he's got some truth into what he says. I spend part of my time here, and I spend part of my time elsewhere working myself to the bone. And yes, he's absolutely right. I take care of myself, and I invest in myself so I can perform at a peak level each and every single day. So when Dean Ambrose's argument is that I spend my time on a bus and I fly after the show on a jet to point B, he's absolutely correct. What he doesn't know is his day ends right now. I'm going to work. I'm flying to New York to promote Total Bellas this week. That's what I'm doing. When he gets to go home and rest and recuperate, I go back to work. And this is where I get twisted. You got a guy complaining that like, oh, John High and Mighty is over here. It's well documented that Dean Ambrose makes millions of dollars in his company. He works himself to the bone. And I'm not gonna shortchange his efforts. He had a great effort tonight. But he is well compensated for those efforts. And I really get twisted when people turn around and say, you are high and mighty up on that throne, because I hope they aspire to do for this business what I am trying to do. Did I get a chance to be a part of the SmackDown Live first ever pay-per-view? No, because the company deemed it fit that I should go to China and help global relations for the WWE in China. So hopefully, years from now, if Dean Ambrose continues to work hard, he can stand in the middle of the ring from a SmackDown Live pay-per-view or a SmackDown Live television or maybe a WrestleMania in Shanghai, in Beijing, surrounded by 100,000 people. And I would be happy to just open that door. I know I'll never be able to do that, but I would love to say, you know what, I helped get that ball rolling. So when someone's argument is he doesn't dress in the designated area for talents to dress in, no, I don't. And it's because you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Quite frankly, Dean Ambrose would slow me down. He says he hangs around the Samoans and Jack Swagger. Well, ask Dean Ambrose the next time you have him on Talking Smack. Who do those people come for? Who do those people come to for genuine advice in WWE when they really need help? And those people will tell you me. And those campfire chats that Dean Ambrose referred to, that is me adapting to my surroundings. I am well aware that I am not the young stallion in this race. I have to know my competitors. I have to know my fellow superstars. And if there's a bit of knowledge that I can get to them, that's fine. But 99% of the time, it's not like back in my day, kid. It's no, how can we make this thing better? I'm not sitting here griping that I wasn't the first draft pick. I didn't expect you to pick me first. I wouldn't care if you picked me last. I'm happy to be on the team, and I'm happy to be on the field, because my approach is every single time I get put on the field, everyone knows they're going to see something special. That could be against you, that could be against AJ, that could be against Dean, and certainly it's going to be at No Mercy when I try to make history. Like, we are on the cusp of something great. And at the very least, it is going to give people something to talk about. And for years, I have just sat idle while people attempt to tell me how things are. And I don't need to yell. Every once in a while, I just have to explain how it really is. Yes, after I'm done talking smack, I'm taking the jet to New York because logistically, I don't have the time to turn around because I need to go back to work. And yes, I take care of myself every day. That's like knocking a guy from like, hey, you're in the gym all the time. Yeah, well, I want to get stronger. And that's what you need to do. And not only that, I'm getting stronger physically. I'm getting stronger mentally. I'm certainly happy with my relationship. I'm in a wonderful place spiritually. I'm very thankful Nicole is there watching this interview because she wants to know what I have to say. That makes me feel good as a person. And it'll be my pleasure tomorrow to go promote that show because I want it to be a success because she works her butt off. Like I said, you are the sum of the 5 people you surround yourself with. And I surround myself with people who just go. The Vince McMahons of the world. People who are the first to show up and the last to leave. No, I don't stand and dress where Dean Ambrose dresses. But this is where someone has twisted reality. Dean Ambrose said John Cena and Dean Ambrose don't like each other. No, Dean Ambrose doesn't like John Cena. John Cena doesn't care about Dean Ambrose. And if Dean wants me to care about him, at No Mercy, he'll either step up or step aside. And that's it. Here's a guy legit cashed in a suitcase to win a championship, won a match, and then lost. And you want to go way back? document the Shield. The first time they hit the ring, man, that Ambrose is something special. Right now, 2 bona fide WWE superstars, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns. One guy still trying to figure it out, Dean Ambrose. And yes, he had a great match tonight, but I'm sorry to plug Raw. How many great matches does Cesaro have? Tons. Absolutely tons. And he's still trying to figure it out. And that's not a knock on Dean Ambrose, because I know he's going to hopefully put in the work to get better. But you have to be accountable for your words. Part-timer, absolutely right, because I'm trying to do it all at once. Lazy, to me, that insult is just lazy. And if he takes that type of attitude and no mercy, he's going to be still trying to figure it out. Is it talking smack enough?
You talked that smack, you laid it down. John, thank you so much for coming on Talking Smack again, laying down the truth. I think we can all learn a little something from that.
What's up? Boochcast fans, listeners across the internet, radio waves. This is Vinny Bucci, a.k.a. The Booch, and this is that time again, once again, yet again for the Boochcast. What's up, everybody? It is Thursday, September 29th, 2016. It is high noon on Throwback Thursday. That's right. And this is that special day of the week where we pop in the old home movies, we dig through the old photo albums, and take a special look back at yesteryear. And, of course, we are going to be doing a little bit of a throwback here on the show today. It's not, I don't know if it qualifies as a throwback, but it goes back as far as a week. Because today here on the Boochcast, in fact, in just a moment, we're going to begin a recap of last week's TNA Impact Wrestling. Yes, because, and I'll tell you why. Obviously, you guys know on Friday, we did not get a chance to discuss the TNA wrestling. Desmond was here. We did a couple wrestling articles. We had some cameo appearances from Broken Gator and Kevin Dunn, and just a lot of craziness went down. And Desmond and I doing our best to adapt to the scenarios. So I decided that today I had an opening, because all I have wrestling-wise today is NXT and Lucha Underground normally, which we will be recapping on the show today. I actually got a chance to check out both shows last night when I got home. Before I went to sleep, I made sure to watch both shows, and it's convenient because each show is roughly an hour long, so it doesn't really keep me up too early, which is what's kind of cool. And I'm excited to talk about those shows. Now, of course, with the subject of TNA, I decided to use Thursday as an opening because once again, I still have yet to watch Sonic the Hedgehog, or finish Sonic the Hedgehog, I should say. I'm still 14 episodes in, got 6 more to go. And I've just been on the go, and haven't had any time to watch them. But I'll be honest, since I've kind of been, focusing all my time and energy on Arrow, and because we still have one more season of Arrow to recap, I'm not super worried about the fact that we don't have, I'm not super worried or super concerned that I haven't seen any Sonic the Hedgehog yet. I'm not in a rush to have to see it. I'll worry about it sometime in October, I think, is when I'll actually get, legit worried about doing the show. You know what I mean? But anyway, super excited for the show today. And also I want to say tomorrow on the Boochcast, and I'm going to let Desmond know this, and I'm going to make this abundantly clear to my entire staff for all the cameo appearances they seem to be making without giving me prior notice. I'm going to let them know that tomorrow I will be recapping tonight's episode of TNA. In fact, I have made it the number one priority. And I'm going to make sure that Desmond understands that, because I know Desmond doesn't follow TNA and he doesn't really enjoy TNA all that much, but tomorrow we have to do it. There has to be a recap. In fact, I may even tell Desmond we'll talk for a couple minutes and then we'll open the show. I may even shut the phone lines if I have to tomorrow, because TNA is a priority for tomorrow. Simply because the fact that this Sunday is Bound for Glory. And on Monday, when Zach is sitting next to me here in the studio, we're going to be recapping Bound for Glory as well as Season 4 of Arrow. So Monday is going to be a stacked show. So tomorrow, whether Desmond likes it or not, there's going to be a TNA recap on this show. Even if I have to make him go, even if Desmond wants to go sit in a corner, even if I have the YouTube video where Desmond's sitting in the corner, whether he sits in the corner and checks his messages or sits on the phone with a girlfriend with a girl he's trying to ask out. I don't want to say girlfriend because Desmond doesn't have a girlfriend at the moment. He's got some prospects, but whatever. But you know what I mean. But we're going to definitely make sure that TNA is recapped tomorrow. It is the most important thing. More important than anything that could take place tomorrow. Which is why I'm glad that Battle of the Shits Part 2 will be taking place next Friday, because there's no way in hell I could do it tomorrow. Or I would not agree to do it tomorrow. It cannot be done tomorrow. It can't. It can't. It cannot be done at all. So I'm going to make that very clear, to everybody, that it could not be done tomorrow. But make sure you tune in next Friday, October the 7th, for the Battle of the Shits, Part 2. It will be Kevin Dunn versus Broken Gator Ricky Ross. I will have 5 questions. Desmond will have 5 questions. And we're going to see these guys do battle one more time. We're going to see one more time Kevin Dunn versus Broken Gator Ricky Ross. Battle of the Shits Part 2. It's going to be a hell of a show. If you saw the first one, then you know what I'm talking about. But I'll tell you right now, it's without a doubt the greatest. It was without a doubt one of the best shows we've ever had and we've ever done. And I look forward to the next one next Friday. And also, for those of you that saw on Facebook and the Twitter, I posted this as soon as I wrapped up yesterday's show, because while I was on the air and I was fortunate enough to play a couple clips during the show, I received word that I got invited to perform last night at the Atlanta Comedy Theater. So I went to the Atlanta Comedy Theater, and luckily the show didn't start on time, which was good because I didn't make it to the club on time. And mostly because of the fact that when I got on Jimmy Carter Boulevard, it was trafficky as fuck. Traffic was fucking horrendous. And here's what I don't understand. Like, it's 8 p.m. on a Wednesday night. Why is traffic that horrible? I looked around. There were no accidents. I saw a couple cop cars, but nobody that seemed to be in an accident, or at least an accident or if it was an accident, it wasn't a big enough accident that it would fuck up the flow of traffic. It was insane. It was goddamn ridiculous, the traffic. So I parked the car. I get to the club. I park in the parking lot. I get out of the car. I lock it. I check my light. I check to make sure my lights are off. I dash in. I sprint. And I'm not a runner. I sprint into that building. By the time I get to the counter, I find out the show hasn't even started yet. So I was relieved. I wasn't late. Thank God. So we get in, we get ready for our sets to gear up, and it was a pretty awkward show. There were people going up more than one. It was probably one of the craziest shows on the planet. Mostly because Angela Miller, who invited me, and Angela Miller has been a guest on the Boochcast before, and she's a very sweet lady, and she's very sweet, and she's a great person, but she was fucked up last night. Like, she was literally like, oh my God, in a daze. Like, it got to the point where someone else had to take over the hosting duties for the night towards the end, and people were going up more than once, and things were getting crazy, and I'm trying to see if Angela's okay, but she's in the back, just like it was nuts. It was an insane show. I went out there. The crowd was pretty small, but pretty good. And of course, I went on stage and I tried some new material. The old jokes hit, but the new joke did not. I was trying to do the Pokemon Go bit that I have about, that I'm the only person on the planet that gains weight while playing Pokemon Go. Which, here's the thing. Last week, I told that joke at the Sweetwater Bar and Grill, and it killed. I tried at the Atlanta Comedy Theater. It didn't hit. And when I got out there, I saw the audience, and I think it's because the audience there were like older people in the crowd. Like, not like old, like senior citizens, but like older people that probably wouldn't know what Pokemon Go is. But I figured since Pokemon Go is in the news and everybody in the news is talking about it, and because it's mainstream, that people would get the joke. But apparently these guys didn't get the joke. There was a part of me that wanted to revert back to my old material when I went on the stage, but I was like, no, I have to get into the mindset of trying out new jokes and bombing because of that, and risking bombing. I have to do it because I need to get new material in my act. So I did the joke. It didn't hit, but I recovered with some other jokes and then got off the stage. And then after the show, I'm hanging out with some of the comics and, telling stories and stuff. And then one guy, his name was Flint, came up. And he talked about how he's opening up a comedy club, I think somewhere in Alabama, called the Happy Hour Comedy Show. And he was handing out, he didn't have any business cards, so he just wrote his contact info down on a piece of little mini notebook paper and gave it to me. I wish I had a business card to give him, but I didn't. I have to see if I still have any business cards or if I have to get some new ones made. But anyway, I had to deliver. I got the card. I got his card. And then we talked for a little bit, and then he left. And then I said my goodbyes, got in the car, drove home. I had a talk with Dan Glazer for a bit, we were telling some good stories, and he told me about how he wants me to pick up Rich Seidner's book because he found it very motivational. And then I told him about some comedy books that I read that were motivational. I actually read this is when I was younger and just when I was getting new to comedy, there was a book called How to, do stand-up comedy by this woman, I think her name was Judy Carter. And it wasn't the Comedy Bible. I've never read that. But I have read another how-to kind of book. And it teaches you how to do comedy, how to understand comedy, how to, pick, how to find your own voice and everything. And what I love about this book is when I got done reading it, I get to the back of the book and it says, I have one final piece of advice for you. Throw this book away. Go on stage, have fun, and be yourself. Funniest thing on the planet. That was genius to me. Because at the end of the day, you do have to be yourself on stage. But at the same time, you got to have some idea of what the hell you're doing and what the hell you're talking about. Because everybody claims to have the formula to a successful comedy show. And some people look for the different styles. But you got to do what fits you. Some people have the ability to just be set up, punchline, 3 lines, boom, I'm in. Some people are one-liners. Doesn't mean you have to be. Some people are just storytellers. That's what I am. I'm a storytelling kind of guy. You know, and just everybody has their style that works for them. And sometimes it may work for you, but it might not work for somebody else. And that's ultimately the lesson that, you know, as a young comic you have to learn. And then, of course, the other book that motivated me was a biography by Bob Newhart, who was very, very talented as a comedian. He was the guy that used like a telephone in his act, and he was really, really funny. And very talented individual, and looked at comedy from different perspectives that I didn't. And, you know, he talked about how comedians see the world. And, you know, we talked about his own life and his own stories, but also you learn a lot about comedy just from reading that book. And, you know, even though everybody has a different style, there's nothing wrong with picking up a book and, you know, reading what other legendary comics have done, because, you know, sometimes you have to look at different styles to find the style that ultimately works for you. You know, sometimes you might be funnier if you do something this way than you do that way. But everybody feels like they have to go this way because it's more commercial. And, you know, it might get you, you know, and that way might help you get work, which is ultimately what you want to do. But at some point, you're going to have to be yourself at some point in order to really make it. Because if you're not genuine, if you're not yourself, then people won't respond to it. They'll be able to tell you're not being real. And people can sense that a mile away, especially in certain, you know, rough parts of town. It's definitely, you know, something that comics need to learn and understand. And I'll tell you, like, I'm glad, and I do, and even though, you know, in spite of all the crazies that happened, I do want to thank Angela Miller for letting me come down to the Atlanta Comedy Theater and do some time. And I'm glad I got to meet Flint. And, you know, if he's looking for feature headlining acts, and, you know, if the money is good, I might consider driving 90 miles to Alabama to do a show. But I'll tell you one thing, I ain't making that drive for free. Definitely not. Definitely not. Definitely not. If I'm making that drive for free, it better be an audition to be a feature or something. Like, I'm gonna need to do that. Something like that. That's something I could probably, you know, handle and do. And ultimately it's all gonna come down to that. But, you know, like I said, I am excited. I'm thinking about, speaking of comedy, let me just, let me put out this little reminder here while I still got time here. Let me pull this up. Sorry, my computer's being a little slow. I hate this thing sometimes. And boom. I want to remind everybody, I'll be performing at the Spice Bistro on Buford Highway this Saturday night at 9 p.m. That's right. I will be performing at the Spice Bistro, and you can go to www.mohagony, MOHAGONANI, roots.com/featuring-Bucci-and-more.html to purchase your tickets to the event. Tickets are $10 now. They're going to cost more at the door, but you can reserve your ticket now by going to that site and type in the invite code 777C9. That's right. Again, the invite code is 777C9. Make sure you type that in when you purchase your tickets online. That way you're able to come on down and see a great night of comedy. And also, not only will there be stand-up comedy, but there will also be spoken word poets. There will also be neo soul. reggae, and R&B singers. So it's going to be a showcase of a variety of acts. I'm going to be one of the comics on the show, and it's definitely going to be a fantastic show. And I really look forward to seeing you guys out there and having a great time. So it's going to be good. I like it. It's going to be a great show, and I really encourage you guys to come out. And again, the Spice Bistro is let me see, trying to find the address here. God damn it. Here we go. 2857 Buford Highway, Northeast, Atlanta, Georgia, 30329. Again, that address is 2857 Buford Highway, Northeast, Atlanta, Georgia, 30329. So make sure you come out to the Spice Bistro Bar and Lounge. The doors will open at 8 p.m. The show starts at 9 o'clock. All right. So if you get there at 8:30, don't worry. You'll still have time to check out. You'll still be there on time. Just make sure you hand them your tickets. Come on in, sit down, and enjoy the show. And if you want to see the Booch on stage, this is the place to be. And I'm debating whether or not I may go out tonight and, I might do another open mic tonight just to go out there and get myself, ready for tonight. Maybe do one more show just to kind of, get myself mentally prepared for Saturday. But right now, the show I'm ultimately plugging is this Saturday at the Spice Bistro Bar and Lounge. So make sure you guys come out Saturday night. Come out and support the Booch. And all right, folks, on that note, what we're going to do right now is we are going to jump in to the recap of last week's TNA Impact Wrestling. All right, we're going to get into the wrestling here now. And basically, the show opens with a recap of the Hardys and Decay Great War announcement and the angle last week. The video also includes the injury suffered by EC3 at the World Title Press Conference and his return last week at the end of the show, or technically 2 weeks ago. Now they cut to the Impact Zone. The show starts off with a semifinal Impact Grand Championship tournament match, which is Drew Galloway versus Eddie Edwards. So yet another wrestling show that kicks off with a match and not a promo, as opposed to SmackDown Live. So Monday Night Raw kicked off with a match. TNA has kicked off with a match. And pretty much everything else is kicked off with a promo. That's one little spoilers I'll give for NXT and Lucha Underground. But anyway, we get to Drew Galloway versus Eddie Edwards. Now, this right here is obviously this is a single elimination tournament. There are 3 rounds scored by 3 judges. There are 3-minute rounds, and rounds are judged by aggressiveness, control, and physicality. So each round is 3 minutes long. So this match was actually very, very good. And what I loved the most about this match was that we finally had a match in the Grand Championship Tournament that went all the way, where the judges actually had to make a decision. That's what I thought was good. The judges actually had to make a judge call. And the judge scored, the first judge scored the bout for Drew Galloway. The second scored it for Eddie Edwards. Judge 3 scored the bout for Drew Galloway. So Drew Galloway wins by decision to advance to the finals at Bound for Glory this Sunday. So Drew Galloway is going to be in the finals, and he will face either Aaron Rex or whoever he's facing. I can't remember who. Oh, yeah, Eli Drake. That's who he's facing in the final. So it will be either Drew Galloway will either face Aaron Rex or his former buddy Eli Drake in the finals. But let me just say, in this match, I thought it was very well done because these guys, none of these guys missed a beat. I mean, these guys were back and forth and back and forth. This really built up Eddie Edwards as a singles competitor. I don't know what the hell's happened to Davey Richards, and I don't know if Davey Richards is ever coming back or if the Wolves are ever going to reform their tag team again. But the one thing that I definitely know for sure, that I can say for certain, is that Eddie Edwards is establishing himself as a legit singles competitor. This is a guy who can legitimately kick ass, take names, and be a future star in this business. He is definitely doing that, and he is showcasing that throughout the entire match. I mean, in the first round, they're matching each other move for move. But then, of course, Drew Galloway ends up winning the round because he does eventually become the most aggressive. And then round 2, Edwards is attacking quickly, and, these guys, and that's when Eddie Edwards had almost total control of this bout. And then you get to round 3, where once again, it's back and forth, and both these men are nearly ready to kill each other. And then as Drew, after Galloway hits a Razor's Edge style turnbuckle powerbomb on Edwards, and then the Future Shock DDT, both men are laid out. Drew lays his arm over Edwards, and then the referee makes the count, but Eddie Edwards kicks out at 2.5, and then the bell rings to end the final round. So it is now official. The judges now have to make this call. Not that there are a judge's decision involved, because like I said, at some point, this had to come into play. You couldn't have every match in a grand championship match end in pinfall or submission, because then what the hell would be the point of the judges? And I still say there should be wrestling legends as judges and not just 3 random idiots. I do believe that they should have had some legends brought in. Find some legends you can give a quick little payday to and, help them out. I think that would be great. Or unless TNA is so fucking broke they can't even pay an extra legend to come in. In which case, that's pretty sad. And then, of course, after the match, Jeremy Borash gets in the ring with Drew Galloway for a post-match interview. And here's what Drew Galloway has to say about advancing to the finals at Bound for Glory.
What a hard-fought battle, Drew Galloway. Congratulations, you're going into the finals Sunday at Bound for Glory. And I'm going to ask you, with your recent attitude shift, is there one person in particular you would like to face in the finals at Bound for Glory?
Let me make one thing very clear. Nothing has changed. I'm the same Drew Galloway. I've always told the truth, spoke my mind, and did what I believed to be right. I disagree. I am the #1 soldier in here. I was willing to fight in the front line until I figured it out how this place really works. Much like American politics, TNA system is rigged. It's designed to favor certain people, and this Grand Championship's rules make sure that will never happen again. So EC3 and Lashley, have a great main event, have a great match. But as some advice from Drew, seek management, maybe get your match switched to the 4 fellas on last, because you're not going to follow Drew Galloway. Their issues continue. Galloway's going to bound for glory. So what's going to become the first ever Impact Grand Champion? EC3 is heading to bound for glory. Challenge for the world title against Lashley. There's that confident stride by EC3. Keep his eyes focused on the ring. Focus on Drew Galloway. Next time you mention my name, I implore you to tread lightly. Here's the thing, buddy. Things just always have a way of working out for you, don't they? I don't know, be it a match that suits you, or maybe just like in our match, a special referee. It's almost like someone's watching out for you up there in Nashville. And I appreciate the fact you're on your little redemption tour. This is your big match. Prove everybody you are the man, but to be honest, I think you're going to lose to Lashley. But it's okay. Your buddy Drew will be there to save the day. Because I promise you, when I'm the grand champion, you can have a shot. You won't even have to politic. I'll give it to you. But trust me, mate. Just trust me, mate. In this environment, in this match, you're not going to last 2 rounds with Drew Galloway. Drew, you can't even last 2 rounds with a little verbal sparring, but last I checked, I did beat you. I will beat you anytime, any place, any day, anywhere. The man that EC3 has to defeat and bound for glory is the world champion, the unstoppable juggernaut of force, human kryptonite, Lashley. The world champion is headed towards the ring. This can't be good. And there's the miracle Mike Bennett from behind. Bennett with a blind sliding shot to EC3. And here comes Lashley. Opa looking at the teams of EC3. 2-on-1 assault. The number 1 contender to the world championship. I know I said this can't be good, but this is worse than my goodness. And look at this. Lashley. And the miracle with a spear. And here comes Booch. The heavy hitter. The big man. Up to even the odds. They get a pay line for the miracle by Curtis. And he's on. Wait a minute, it's too early. Here comes Lashley. And Booch is not backing down at all. There goes the world champion. And Booch holds the ring. And the miracle is in a world of trouble. The load up. Oh, and the counter by Bennett. And Lashley with a spear. The bodies have hit the floor. Tonight it's the miracle by Bennett. The world champion. Human kryptonite. Lashley. Against their bound for glory opponents. Booch and EC3. And this scene tells you the entire story. Is this a precursor of the coming night? Will EC3 and Booch be taking down? Will they be the fallen heroes at the feet of Lashley and the miracle on the doorstep to bound for glory?
It's always amazing in wrestling how a teeny tiny little interview can escalate into a clusterfuck. And of course, that's what happens here. You know, I love obviously Drew Galloway using politics to make fun of TNA and say the system is rigged. I mean, he's not wrong about American politics. It's definitely rigged. It's definitely rigged. Especially if you saw the first debate, how rigged that shit can be. When everybody's all against one man. It's fucking insane. But anyway, not going to get into that. Point is, EC3 comes out to the ring, and then him and, talks about the special treatment from the higher-ups in Nashville because, let's face it, EC3 is the nephew of Dixie Carter. And, of course, there was a time when EC3 was a heel where he had that luxury until Dixie Carter turned babyface. And then eventually EC3 turned babyface as well. So obviously they'll do that. And then Drew Galloway, of course, is saying that once Bobby Lashley kicks your ass, I'll gladly give you a shot at the Grand Championship. And then, of course, although he declares, you wouldn't be able to last 2 rounds. And then he said that, I beat you before, I'll beat you again. Bobby Lashley comes out. And then while Carter and Lashley, Mike Bennett sneaks into the ring and attacks because now Galloway's already left the ring. So Galloway kind of walks away from it after the confrontation. And then, of course, next thing you know, we got a huge fight comes out. Moose comes out to make the save for EC3. But, of course, Lashley manages to spear Moose and lay out EC3. And then we find out later on that we have a main event tag team match with Bobby Lashley. We got Bobby Lashley and the Miracle facing Moose and EC3. Now, I don't mind Bobby Lashley being able to spear and lay out Moose because A, he's the TNA champion, and B, we've seen Moose already manhandle Lashley. So I don't mind Lashley kind of evening up the odds a little bit. And we do know eventually we are going to see Moose versus Bobby Lashley. I don't know if it'll be for the TNA World title, but I know we're going to see it. And I know once we do, TNA will never be the same. Okay, and on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to move on to the next segment here where we cut to the backstage area with Allie and Maria. And, of course, Allie is on her cell phone as Maria is walking towards her because Maria has a public workout plan and she wants to make sure that everything is set up. So here's what goes down between Allie and the Knockouts champ, Maria.
And how much wrestling experience do you have? Oh, that's really good. This public workout is very important to Miss Maria. Oh, you're here. Okay, so when you get here, you want to ask for Allie. It's ALLICUPID. Are we all set, Allie? This public workout is very important to me. No, I did exactly what you asked, Miss Maria, and you're going to look so super amazing. I don't want to look so super amazing. I want to send a message. I want to send a message to Gail Kim that I am the greatest knockout champion ever. Isn't that right, Allie? Isn't that right, Allie? Yes, Miss Maria. Yes. And everyone will see it tonight.
Well, obviously, Maria, as always, has her attitude and, and then, of course, taking care of everything. And then Maria, of course, is now harassing Allie because Allie is now at the point in her career right now where she's getting a lot of popularity. And I am still annoyed with the fact that Allie continues to be with Maria, despite the fact that A, she's a bitch, B, she calls her stupid every week, and C, she made her lay down to take the Knockouts championship from her. This has got to be the most pathetic thing I've ever seen. I think at Bound for Glory, we need to see Allie turn on Maria and help Gail Kim win the Knockouts championship. That's what needs to happen. I don't know how much longer you could go with this. I don't at all. I think, and then Maria needs to do a storyline where she fires Allie, but the company rehires her as a wrestling talent. So she gets in the ring, and, you know, even though she's not going to wrestle as Cherry Bomb, but she can still get in the ring and wrestle. Because that's what bothers me the most, that Allie is actually a wrestler and they're trying to build her like she's not. Really bothers me. And it's kind of stupid. So I'm really looking forward to this ending Sunday at Bound for Glory because, quite frankly, this whole storyline is just annoying. It's doing nothing to help anybody, and I don't know what they're planning with this anymore. But at some point, you're going to have to pull the trigger because people are getting annoyed. They just are. They're just really getting annoyed. Or maybe it's just me that's getting annoyed. I don't know. Maybe you guys enjoy this shit, but this is the one aspect of TNA wrestling that I particularly do not enjoy and would really wish would go away. And on that note, we're going to move on to the next segment here. We got, well, first they show, you know, a video package of Aaron Rex and Eli Drake. And then after that, we cut to the other section of the backstage area where Mike Bennett is really, really excited to be teaming up with Bobby Lashley. And, you know, of course, the Miracle is scheduled to face Moose at Bound for Glory this Sunday while Lashley defends the world title against EC3. And here's the excitement from the Miracle working with the Destroyer.
Oh, man, Lashley, that was awesome. Did you see what we did out there? That was destruction. I mean, did we just become best friends?
No. Don't ever say that. Best friends, I have no friends. And you're definitely not my friend. So don't say that again. 2, there was no we. There was me. I told you before, I am unstoppable. And tonight, I showed Moose and EC3 that
you're so right. You are so right. And now I know that at Bound for Glory, you're going to beat EC3 just like I did. And Moose, you don't have to worry about him anymore because at Bound for Glory, I'm going to beat his ass. And then maybe you'll give me a title shot. We're friends.
you're still talking about the title. You're still eyeing my title after you just saw what I did tonight.
You're right. You're so right. You know what? Let's just focus on tonight. Mike and Lashley. Miracle and Lashley. Tonight. Let's focus.
Sorry, I had a bit of a delay there, but holy shit. Wow. So, Mike Bennett basically, he wants him and Lashley to be friends, and Lashley's not going for it. He takes full credit for the beating on Moose and Carter, and Bennett asks for a future world title match, and Lashley trash talks Bennett, and Mike Bennett backs down. So basically, Bennett's trying to think that we're all friends. He's trying to politic his way to a future world title shot. And Bobby Lashley's like, nah, kid, you're going to earn your shot against me. And he's also telling him, fighting me is bad for your health. So obviously, the Miracle is now being the biggest kiss ass on the planet because he doesn't have his Moose to do his bidding for him. So Mike Bennett is basically being an old school heel here. He's doing a hell of a job at it too. And then, of course, everything else that's involved is craziness from that point on. And I can honestly say is highly entertaining. I found it highly entertaining. I thought these guys did a hell of a job. And, I'm definitely looking forward to the tag team main event. And on that note, we are going to move on to the next match here as we see Eli, which is the Impact Grand Championship Tournament, the other semifinal match with the winner to face Drew Galloway at the pay-per-view at Bound for Glory. And it's, of course, Aaron Rex versus Eli Drake. But before the match, Eli Drake grabs the microphone because he's got something to say to Aaron Rex. And here's how that unfolds.
I look across the ring. I see Dummy. Yeah. Shut up. Perhaps you haven't gotten a proper introduction yet. Standing in front of you, looking into those eyes, is a man they call Eli Drake. I am the official namer of dummies and one perpetual motion machine of badassery. So don't get lost in the sauce. I saw you about to grab this microphone over there, and I'm going to tell you that's a mistake, and I'll tell you why. Because if you get a little too chatty and you don't watch that tongue, you're going to get a whole lot of pyroclastic flow that you can't exactly handle. First of all, as far as the insults you tried to throw at me and to throw at all of them, I could have eaten a bowl of alphabet soup and crapped out better insults than the one you were throwing out. To the point of I don't even think it's right. I mean, I don't like you, they don't like you, but insulting you would be like picking on a small child. So what I'm going to do, I am simply going to tell the tale of Eli Drake. Welcome to the big leagues, buddy. Once upon a time, an out-of-work Chippendale dancer and a Muppet got busy, and 9 months later, this popped out. He shows up to Impact Wrestling, puts way too much baby oil on himself, apparently buys his knee pads in the boys' volleyball department at Kmart, and actually has the audacity to call people dummies. Don't do that. The first round of this semi-final matchup between Aaron Rex and Eli Drake is next.
Well, we finally get a verbal jousting from Aaron Rex and Eli Drake. And it's perfection at its best. You know, Drake telling him, don't get lost in the sauce and the whole dummy, yeah. And I loved it. Like Aaron Rex says, I could have eaten a bowl of alphabet soup and crapped out better insults. He said rather than insult him, he's going to tell the tale of Eli Drake and then tells him, welcome to the big leagues, and calls him an out-of-work Chippendale dancer and a Muppet got busy, and 9 months later, Eli Drake popped out. And then Rex said that Drake puts on way too much baby oil and brought his thin knee pads from the boys' volleyball department at Kmart. I got to say, Aaron Rex, I'm going to say this about Aaron Rex. I like him more than I like Damian Sandow. I'm sorry. I like him better than I like Damian Sandow. Because Damian Sandow was never this entertaining on the mic. Love this. I wish this would have been in WWE. Than that intellectual savior of the masses bullshit. I mean, it was great, but that's not a gimmick that's going to make you a world champion. At least the Mizdow gimmick was somewhat great. But anyway, the match takes place. And what's interesting about this one is that this one actually... it went all 3 rounds, but it didn't end by decision. It was a pinfall. And these guys, I love both these guys. Eli Drake and Aaron Rex are 2 amazing athletes, amazing promos. I almost wish they were fighting each other in the finals, but I know they're not because Drew Galloway and Aaron Rex are in the middle of a rivalry. So that's why we got naturally, Aaron Rex defeated Eli Drake to advance to the finals. So it'll be him and Drew Galloway in the finals of at Bound for Glory for the Grand Championship, which I believe that's going to go all the way to a judge's decision. So that way it doesn't bury either wrestler. There's no pinfalls, no submission, and by having it go by judge's decision, especially if Aaron Rex wins the championship, Drew Galloway got a chip on his shoulder. He can say, TNA is rigged. Dixie Carter, Billy Corgan, you fixed the judges. You rigged the judges. Aaron Rex, you can't beat Drew Galloway. And then they got to bring in special guest judges that are fair and impartial and something like that. Like maybe some like I said, legendary wrestlers, which I think it should be. Like, if Hogan and Bischoff were still on good terms with TNA, I'd make them the judges. If you could get Ric Flair to come in, I would love to see Flair do that. If which he probably would if his daughter wasn't affiliated with the company. But if you could find any legends out there that would be open to that possibility, I'd say go for it. Bring somebody in. There's plenty of legends out there you can get. And some of them that'll work a decent price. It's sure we'll find something. But I think that'd be great. But of course, the actual match itself, like I said before, was amazing. Basic wrestling in this one, side headlocks, Russian leg sweeps. The first round was pretty much basic pro wrestling, like shit you learn in a wrestling school. And of course, the judges all scored the round for Aaron Rex. Then the second round, this one was more actual, fighting and brawling with DDTs and suplexes and submissions and all that. Aaron Rex really trying to do make people tap out. Drake at one point goes for blunt force trauma, but Rex blocks it. Drake hits a power slam on Aaron Rex, taunts him, then follows with an elbow drop for a 2 count. As time ticks down to round 2, Drake is pounding away on Aaron Rex. So Eli Drake gets to, the round goes to Eli Drake. And then round 3, this one is the quickest round of them all because Aaron Rex, goes off the ropes with a spinning forearm, then hits his new finisher, which is called the Revelator. The Revelator. And then 1, 2, 3, the winner of the match, Aaron Rex. And, so the match itself was intense, had a lot of great moments. Eli Drake showing that he's got great showmanship as always. Aaron Rex always been talented, but now gets to really show it in TNA. And it's great. I wish he'd get rid of the pink because I think it makes him look, as I said before, pink on a guy wrestler always looks kind of girly. So I'm not real big on that. But other than that, I think he's doing a hell of a job. He's got the white on white, which kind of works a little bit and is still highly entertaining. And I just think that it suits him. It works for him. It somehow is more distinguished for him, which is how I feel about the whole thing. So I like it. Liking the style, liking the match. And I'm looking forward to Drew Galloway and Aaron Rex at Bound for Glory. And on that note, we cut to the backstage area with Decay. They're in a darkened part of the arena with red flashing lights surrounding them. And obviously, they're going to be talking about, the great war between the Hardys and Decay, which will take place at Bound for Glory this Sunday. And then here's what Decay has to say about the Great War.
At Bound for Glory, the Great War will signify the final destruction of everything the Hardys did. They want our title. They want our title. They don't understand that we are the necessary evil.
And I'm going to take so much pleasure in decorating myself with their insides. Remy! You have no idea what you've done. You have revealed your true weakness. And the first shot of the Great War has been fired.
So, what I love most about this promo, besides the fact that Vanguard 1 showed up, and the fact that they showed Senior Benjamin holding a shovel that says delete, of course. To me, it was great because, Decay's now chasing after him. But what I love about this is the fact that Rosemary is so angry. That's what I love most about this. Abyss and Crazy Steve, they've got their composure somewhat. But Rosemary's not smiling. Rosemary's not laughing. She's pissed. I've never seen Rosemary pissed off before. Like, this is a new one. And now I can just honestly say she's a little crazy. And she's got issues. It's kind of sick, really, when you think about it. It's a little sick. I like it. I've never seen Rosemary angry before, and I like that. It's showing a different side to her and to the whole thing. So, obviously, it's going to be – I look forward to the Great War. In my opinion, this should probably be the main event of Bound for Glory because no one gives a shit about anything else. I promise you. I wish that would be the main event. Like, I remember, nobody's going to be able to follow Drew Galloway. Poor little Galloway. I respectfully disagree with your statements. For my broken brilliance could follow anyone. On the TNA roster, it could follow everyone at the Meek Mahan show, or the Honorable Wrestling, or the New Wrestling of Japan, or even Subterranean Lucha. No one can follow my broken brilliance. And anyone who dares to follow me will be sent to the darkness of deletion. It will be rendered obsolete. This is the fact. That's just the fact. So we come back from so anyway, after that we get to the backstage area where we see Aaron Rex being interviewed about his victory over Eli Drake. And basically, the big question on everyone's mind is, what's Aaron Rex got to feel about now, knowing he's stepping in the ring with Drew Galloway this Sunday? Well, here's what Aaron has to say about his victory.
Aaron, congratulations. What's it feel like to be in the finals of the Knockdown Championship of DMP?
Feels like I thought it would. My only feeling is that I'll breathe easy after I win the tournament. But more importantly,
relax, buddy, relax. We already had our stuff. I already kicked your ass. We both have the opportunity to win the TMP's biggest win of the year. We're going to make history of looking in a mirror. Unfortunately for you, there can be only one. And that one is Drew Galloway.
yeah, the one that spent that night in the hospital.
All right. Well, at least those guys were able to at least remain civil with each other. You know, I mean, they did say Drew told Aaron that he's going to be the one that wins the grand championship, and Rex said he's going to be the one that Drew's going to be the one that spends the night at the hospital. So they were able, and that's what's interesting. They were able to, you know, stare each other down. They were able to have a civilized talk before they face off at Bound for Glory this Sunday. Now, of course, we won't know until tonight if there will be any bloodshed between these two, because we do have to remember that. Even though Bound for Glory is this Sunday, there's still one more episode of TNA to air tonight. So this is kind of the preparation for that, is how I'm viewing the show today. So we got Aaron Rex and Drew Galloway. The stage is set for the match at Bound for Glory. All we got to do is wait and see what happens tonight. And then, and I don't have the clip of this because it doesn't really mean anything, but then we show an open field at daytime. A familiar voice says, "You don't know a man until you walk a mile in his shoes." The camera shows a man wearing a suit. The man says, "I learn more about me every day." As the man is walking, he continues by saying, "With every mile. My past is just that, and my story is being written one step at a time." As the man in the suit walks towards his luxury car, the man says his future is decided by the roads that he takes. The man gets into his car, and at this point, you can clearly hear and then see this man is Cody Rhodes. As Cody prepares to drive away in the car, he says he is bound for a new adventure, and that where he is going, he is bound for gold and glory. The camera pans to Cody's face. He says his roads lead to Bound for Glory. Cody drives away, and in big bold letters on a black screen, it says Cody arrives Bound for Glory this Sunday on pay-per-view. So it is now official. Cody Rhodes has signed with TNA. Now, we did talk a little bit about this last week, but I will mention a little bit about it right now for those of you that missed last week's show. I'm excited that Cody Rhodes is coming to TNA. I think that if TNA is able to stay in business after Bound for Glory, because there's been rumors speculating they may or may not be, I think that Cody Rhodes is a game changer. I think that Cody Rhodes is a big deal. I think with TNA having to come down to having a lot of these WWE stars that are being mismanaged by WWE and going to TNA, the more you have that happen, the bigger your ratings can get. Because Cody Rhodes is an established name. Now, obviously, they're just saying Cody. They're not calling him Cody Rhodes because he doesn't really have that name. Or if he does say Rhodes, he might have to spell it Roads. He can't spell it the normal way. Like Brandy, his wife, can be Brandy Rhodes because she was known as Eden Styles in WWE, not Brandy Rhodes. So she can use the name Rhodes, but Cody can't, which is fucked up because that's his dad is the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. So for them to call Cody Rhodes and not for WWE to not let him use Cody Rhodes is that's worse than how they treated him in WWE. He should be allowed to call himself Cody Rhodes. And WWE, here's the thing, if WWE tried to file a lawsuit for Cody using Cody Rhodes, and even if they won the lawsuit, from a PR standpoint, that would destroy WWE. Because here you are on NXT later on talking about the American Dream Dusty Rhodes and the loss of Dusty Rhodes and the impact he had on this career and how much you all respect the American Dream, yet you will not allow his flesh and blood son to use his own father's last name. Because of some stupid, petty shit like a trademark. That's as petty can get. And it's wrong. It's wrong to not let Cody use the last name Rhodes, especially when WWE would claim to respect his father and what he gave to the business and what he did for NXT to help Triple H with NXT. You have a Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic coming up, for Christ's sake. And I know I'm giving away shit from NXT, but I don't care. I'm really annoyed with the fact that Cody can't be called Cody Rhodes when he's the son of the American Dream. It's hypocrisy. And if you think you're accomplishing anything by doing, if WWE thinks they're accomplishing anything by doing that, they're fucking wrong. They're just wrong. It's goddamn ridiculous. It's petty schoolyard bullshit. That's all it is. Just petty schoolyard bullshit. But anyway, I am excited that Cody Rhodes is coming to TNA, and I'm calling him Cody Rhodes. Fuck it. You know, and I look forward to seeing what Cody's going to have to say when he shows up to Bound for Glory. And assuming there's going to be a TNA after Bound for Glory, hopefully Cody will be able to do more for the show. I definitely look forward to seeing him becoming a TNA World Champion. And, you know, some people are thinking that him and Aaron Rex might get together because they were called the Rhodes Scholars. They might bring that together and maybe become a tag team at some point down the road and maybe go for the TNA Tag Team Championships. I'd love to see that. There's a variety of things that Cody can do. And obviously his main goal is he's going to be locked in a rivalry at some point with Mike Bennett, because I know that's why TNA's wanted to sign him. And, you know, TNA, even though Cody is working for TNA, he's not a permanent member of TNA. As we already know, he's been signed to work some dates for Ring of Honor. He will be wrestling for Ring of Honor as well as TNA. And I think he'll be the only superstar to bounce back and forth between those two, you know, shows. You know, he's committed to working with TNA, but I think Cody's going to be a part-timer with TNA. I think he's going to be there, you know, he's going to have a part-time schedule. He's not going to be there all the time. But when he does, he'll make an impact. Pun intended. And on that note, we're going to move on to the next segment here, which is Decay comes out to the ring now. Because after the incident with Vanguard 1 and Rosemary, you know, angry about the first shot being fired, and Senor Benjamin with the delete shovel, they decided to come out to the ring and confront the Hardys. And here's what Decay has to say to the Hardys and what will go down at the Great War.
You don't know what you've done. We are not afraid of you, and we are sick of your pathetic little games. The Great War transcends earthly needs, wants, and possessions. The Great War will be the end of every party forever.
You silly zombie sheep, and you're delete. Shut up! I'm the Great War. Decay is going to destroy what's left of the Hardy legacy. And that Parties! Sending your mechanical animal after us is a welcomed invitation. We do not fear the Great War. We embrace it. Welcome it with open arms. Because we know that once the Great War is over and nature has finally taken its course, these zombie sheep and your broken brilliance will belong to decay. You now exist in a broken universe. A universe that is magic. And on one magic. Star, the dilapidated ghost magic. And you wish for all magic to decay. For that sin, we must go to battle at the Great War. And when the entire world is our battlefield, I can bludgeon each of you demons again and 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 again until I delete your tag team title reign. I have embraced my fate of being broken. The Great War, we will twist decay's fate. Abyss will no longer be beautiful. Steve will no longer be crazy. And Rosemary, oh Rosemary, you just won't be Rosie anymore. You'll wish you were broken. Instead, you'll be obliterated and rendered obsolete. Yet, you'll fade away and classify yourself as obsolete. Obsolete. You'll fade away and classify yourself as obsolete. Obsolete. You'll fade away and classify yourself as obsolete. Alright. Do you think we fear fate? We fear nothing. We are the Death Dealers. And tonight, it is you fools who are tempting fate. For there are only two of you and three of us. So bring your Great War. We are not afraid, and it will be the Hardys that are bound for decay. What a delightful threat. seven deities have assured me tonight all of you decay are bound for glory. Can't see a thing. Something's going on inside the ring. Turn the lights on. Crazy cheese has been powered to the six-sided ring. Ruddy's inside. And a spear from Ruddy. The Rosemary. That's right at the ring. Revan's getting us up. Revan's getting us up. Rosemary. You broken back. Broken Brother Nero. Push the face up and thrown off by Rosemary. Get the hell out of here.
The worst thing you could have ever done is mess with a mother and her child. And after next week, in this ring, your mother will be the one left without her baby.
It's re-decay. Party.
Delete, obsolete, delete, obsolete, delete, obsolete. I'm sorry. I love this. I say this every week, but I have to say it because there are still some people out there who doubt that this is the most talented thing in wrestling. This is as old school gets, and I love it. The ending of that, Matt Hardy and Jeff holding the tag team titles while Abyss and Crazy Steve are tied to the corners of the ring, and then they're just going, delete, and Jeff's like, obsolete, delete. I love it. Like, I love the fact that Matt and Jeff, I know it's Brother Nero, but I'm just summing up. I'm so excited that Matt and Jeff are going for the tag team titles, but this time, you know, as these broken characters. But what's great about it is Matt's not treating him like an obsolete mule, making him embark on this odyssey on his own. It's Matt and Jeff standing next to each other. I mean, you almost forget that the final deletion was between them two. They are on the same page. Matt's turned face. Jeff has now become broken as well. And they have now turned this into the greatest storyline in wrestling today. Which is why WWE wants this so badly. But I know for them to truly have this, they've got to be willing to let Matt be Matt. You can't let the WWE creative team get involved. You can't stifle this. Because if you do, it will bomb. You got to let the stars, in some cases, do what they do. I think that the writers and the creative people should focus on the wrestlers with no charisma. That's what I think. I think if you're going to script out a scene or a promo, save that for the wrestlers who can't talk. That's who, because there's some wrestlers that they're great in the ring, but they can't talk worth shit. They're the ones that need scripted promos. They're the ones that need to memorize lines because they just can't talk. But the ones who can, Let them. Give them little bullet points of what they want, of what you want over. And then let them go out and do it. I mean, I loved it. Decay, like I said, Rosemary's in a fit of rage. Rebby's in a fit of rage. Because, because of everything that's gone down. And it says next week. So basically, what that's telling me is one of two things. Either A, tonight on Impact, we're going to see Rosemary go one-on-one with Rebby, which would be great because both these women can wrestle. They're just not showing it. But both these women can wrestle. So we could see a fight between these two intensely. Not only that, but here's the thing. I meant to say, so either A, that's going to happen, or B, that means Bound for Glory is going to be an actual match. The Great War will be actually inside the ring, which I'm preferring. I just want to say, make it a no-holds-barred, falls count anywhere match. But let them fight in the Impact Zone or wherever Bound for Glory is going to be. But let that be the place where the fight takes place. Let that happen. Let it work. Because by doing that, it'll be better. Don't make them tape something and air it. We don't need that again. I like Broken Matt, but you can't abuse that concept. Save that for a special occasion, for special things. Not that the winning the tag team belts isn't special, but this is pay-per-view. It's live. Let us have the fight. Now, get in the ring and fight for the people in that crowd. Don't just keep taping stuff. Because then you deprive the TNA audience of seeing you guys, of seeing them wrestle. And yeah, obviously Broken Matt's a great gimmick. We look forward to him being on the mic. Give him all the mic time you can. But we also want to see the wrestling. So, and I'm a big fan of the talking because it builds up to the wrestling. So now at Bound for Glory, even if it's a falls count anywhere where they can fight all over the place and in the locker rooms or whatever, let them fight everywhere. Even make it falls count anywhere if you got to. But let it happen in the ring. That's what we need to see. We don't need the extra shenanigans anymore. We really don't. We've had the fun. We've had the games. Now, give us the wrestling. And that's all we need. But overall, that was a fantastic segment. I've been watching it over and over and over again, leading up to this moment where I get to talk about it here on the Boochcast. And it's great. I love it. I'm excited. I'm excited for Bound for Glory. I'm sorry, I am. I'm more excited for this than I was for Clash of Champions or even No Mercy which is going to be next Sunday. I'm excited for this. I really am. I can't wait. I literally cannot wait. I'm as giddy as a schoolboy. And on that note, while I get all giddy, all right. While we wait, EC3 and Moose are backstage. And obviously, we cut to the backstage with them. And obviously, they're pissed off from what happened earlier in the day. And here's what they have to say about their upcoming tag team main event.
Oh, Lashley thinks he's going to leave me laying in that rain. Oh, no. I'm going to fight him. I'm going to fight him my whole life. And tonight, I'm going to whoop his ass.
Hell yeah, man, I'll tell you. I'm pretty sure he whooped my ass once, twice.
Look,
Tonight, you have the opportunity to whoop Lashley's ass. And tonight, you have the opportunity to whoop the Miracle's ass. But I have a question for you. At Fall for Glory, what are you going to do tonight?
I'm going to beat the hell out of the Miracle. That's exactly what I'm going to do.
I love the sound of that. Tell me what you're going to do with those little teeth.
I'm going to knock his teeth straight down his throat.
Oh, hell yeah. And you want a piece of Lashley? Guess what? Tonight, he's mine. After that, he's all yours.
Oh, no, Ethan. I beat the hell out of whoever I want, whenever I want.
All right. Well, at least they're somewhat on the same page. I mean, they both agree they're going to beat the hell out of somebody, but Moose is going to say, I'll beat whoever I want whenever I want. So hopefully EC3, which doesn't really sound good for EC3s. It's like, dude. That's all well and good, but please remember, I am your tag team partner tonight. So beating the hell out of me is not going to help you because A, you'll be by yourself, and B, you'll piss me off. So I don't think you want to do that. So I think, Moose should kind of be a little bit careful with, that kind of attitude. And remember that EC3, it's like, otherwise it's going to be like in Star Fox when you accidentally shoot, when you're trying to shoot somebody down, you accidentally shoot Falco and he goes, "Hey, Einstein, I'm on your side." That kind of thing. It's kind of, a little crazy there for a second. So everything's good. It's good. Sounds like it'll work. But, of course, obviously we got to be very mindful of, what's going to happen in this match and how crazy things can really, really get, especially with Moose, being unstable right now and really wanting to manhandle everybody in the ring like Bennett and Lashley. It is kind of a switch to see, Moose and Bennett on opposite sides of the ring. But, of course, like I said, we will be seeing that at Bound for Glory. And so we'll see what happens in the tag match tonight. But on that note, we're going to move on to the next moment here. We got DJZ in the ring. And as we all know, DJZ is the X Division champion. He won the Ultimate X match to crown himself the new Cruiserweight champion. X Division champion after Lashley decided to vacate the X Division title because he claims he ripped the heart and soul out of the X Division and that the belt was garbage. Which I still can't believe they chose to do that. But anyway. But then, of course, DJZ steps in the ring, and here's what he has to say about being the X Division champion.
Yo, thank you all for that response. Y'all don't know how much it means to me to once again be your X Division champion. Some of you may remember the first time I held this title. At that time, I was very immature. I was cocky. I was disrespectful. I didn't appreciate this title and how much it truly means. But I've done a lot of growing up over the years. And now that I finally have the X Division title back, things are going to be different, and I'm going to be the type of champion that y'all deserve. I'm going to be a fighting champion. And actually, I'm looking for a fight right now. So if any of those young, hungry X Division wrestlers in the back want this title, why don't you come on out here and try to take it from me?
What? Me too.
Introducing us opponents, accompanied to the ring by Andrew Everett, Trevor Lee. Very often the champion comes out and says, "Hey, anybody back there want an opportunity?"
They don't do that. They don't get no better than that, Josh. I mean, you didn't really have to earn it, but if you want to go out there and try to earn the X Division title, well, there you go.
All right, well, obviously I admire the fact that DJZ is issuing an open challenge, and I kind of like that this is his way of, like, obviously when you're a heel and you turn babyface, that was him giving his repent from the audience, because that is ultimately what it means to be a bad guy and become a good guy. You atone for your sins. Just like when you're a good guy to a bad guy, you just become a complete asshole and, you know, and say, I'm tired of your shit, pretty much. So now we know that the Helms Dynasty comes out, and Trevor Lee is now getting an X Division title shot. So we have an X Division title match, and DJZ versus Trevor Lee. And I know what you guys are thinking. No, the X Division title did not change hands. I know it's a common joke amongst TNA fans that the X Division title, you know, is constantly flip-flopping and, you know, changing hands almost every week, it seems like. But this match was pretty good because basically Andrew Everett interferes in the match to get the match going in Trevor Lee's favor. I'm assuming it's no disqualification because the ref doesn't disqualify him for that. Unless he did it when the ref's back was turned, which sounds like something that would probably make some sense. But ultimately, you know, something would definitely be, you know, would definitely be something a little crazy that would go down. But ultimately, what I see from all of this is the fact that, you know, the X Division clearly has great rivals, but obviously Trevor Lee is looking to fight again, which is kind of ridiculous. But I feel like Andrew Everett is just becoming a lackey for this team, which is what I have an issue with. If I was Andrew Everett, at some point I would just turn to Shane Helms and be like, dude, why is Trevor Lee always getting a fucking title shot? Why can't I have some title shots here? Why can't you guys back me up? What's so special about this fucking guy? That's what I would be doing if I was Andrew Everett. And I'm still trying to figure out, when is Shane Helms going to make his debut in the ring? I mean, not like debut, but I mean like his return to TNA, when he finally starts wrestling in the ring. Because I know these guys could really benefit. I know the X Division would really benefit from a guy like Shane Helms. I think he would be a hell of a guy. I'd love to see him compete in the ring, because I feel like, you know, hell, I would make Shane Helms one of the judges for the Grand Championship, since he has so much, you know, knowledge of the business. Let him be one of the fucking judges instead of doing this shit, because I think it's just kind of stupid. Then, of course, in the end, Z hits a top rope hurricane on Lee, follows it up with the DDZ, which is his finisher. 1, 2, 3, the winner and still champion, DJZ, which I think is good, especially now that DJZ has, you know, gotten a face turn and has won the championship. He needs to be champ for a while. We've seen the X Division title bounce back and forth way too many times. It's done nothing good for the division to do that. And I know I say that a lot with, like, you know, with WWE, where they have long, lengthy title reigns, but, you know, WWE's on way more often than TNA. So TNA, they can't afford to. They only get like one show a week, and they barely do anything at all. And they have a reason to keep their title reigns a little bit longer, because they've only got one show to work with. You know, WWE does multiple shows a year, so their storylines can get stale very quickly than TNA's. You know, plus TNA has talent they have to build. WWE, once you get to WWE, you're pretty much established, pretty much. So anyway, after the match, Andrew Everett gets in the ring, and they start attacking, you know, DJZ, the Helms Dynasty. Then all of a sudden, Eddie Edwards comes out, takes everybody down, knocks everybody out. The Helms Dynasty retreats up the ring. Eddie Edwards grabs a microphone, and here's what he has to say to the X Division champion.
DJZ right here, huh? Hey, everybody knows that me and you were boys and travel together. We stay together. We damn sure party together. Maybe a little celebration tonight, I don't know. But, you know, you are the definition of an X Division athlete. You are what the X Division is all about. And if I'm being honest, you say you're a fighting champion, and I know you are a man of your word. So what do you say next week on Impact, me and you one-on-one for that title? I know all these people want to see it. I know everybody watching at home wants to see it. But I can't think of anybody more deserving. Of course I accept your challenge. As if the final episode of Impact on Top before Bound for Glory was championed before, now we're going to have an incredible X Division Championship match. DJZ defending his title against Eddie Edwards next Thursday.
So next week on Impact is when this is going to take place. Okay. Here's how I feel about this. I like the fact Eddie Edwards and DJZ are going to fight for the X Division title. What I can't figure out is why, oh why, would you not book this for Bound for Glory? Instead, you're going to have it take place tonight on Impact Wrestling instead of this Sunday at Bound for Glory. You've got, is something else demand the champion's time? Why are you booking a championship match for next week's Impact and not Bound for Glory? The only logical thing I could possibly come up with is that the Helms Dynasty interferes in this match and it becomes some type of fatal four-way for the X Division title where it's Trevor Lee versus Andrew Everett versus DJZ versus Eddie Edwards. That's the only logic I'm going to be able to come up with. The Helms Dynasty is going to fuck this match up tonight. That's my prediction. Check out Impact Wrestling tonight. I guarantee you that is what's going to happen. I promise you that is on the agenda. Most definitely, that is on the agenda. No doubt. So I'm not too happy about the fact that they're doing this next week and not at Bound for Glory. I think that's kind of stupid. You need more matches for your pay-per-view. I don't see a whole lot being booked. Let's see. We got Bobby Lashley and EC3. We got, for the world title, we got Decay defending the tag belts against the Broken Hardys. We've got Maria versus Gail Kim for the Knockouts Championship. We got Mike Bennett versus Moose. That's about it. And Cody Rhodes showing up. So obviously Cody's going to get some mic time in the ring. I assume he's going to cut a promo of some kind. Be able to rip on the audience. Or not rip on the audience, but at least speak his mind. I doubt he's not turning heel. That'd be the dumbest fucking thing in the world. But other than that, I don't, unless they throw in a bunch of impromptu matches, which I don't think you should do at your biggest pay-per-view of the year. You should have the card already stacked. And you can't leave one championship not being defended. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Aaron Rex and Drew Galloway Grand Championship. So you got 5 matches and 1 promo guy. And your X Division title is conspicuously absent. When you talk about it being the heart and soul of TNA and you don't even have a match on the card for this belt. There's just nothing. Makes no goddamn sense to me. And then backstage, Maria is prepping for her workout by punching Allie's hands. You know, Allie's got her hands up and she's doing the 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And basically, here's how that situation unfolds.
Jan, Miss Maria, you're going to be so super happy. I got the perfect moment for you tonight. Oh. I hope you just messed this one up too, just like you did my coffee, just like you did my hair appointment. No, but I don't mess everything up, Miss Maria. Remember that time that I laid down in the ring for you, and that's how you got the Knockouts Championship? You got credit for that? Where in your job description does it say that you get credit or accolades for anything that you do? You're my assistant. Well, no, Miss Maria, actually, I'm your apprentice. You're stupid. Just like Gail Kim. And tonight, during the public workout, everyone will see how great I
am. Wow. This is ridiculous. Now, of course, Allie's left with her head down, sobbing. Because, of course, that's what Allie does. She sobs. Instead of doing what she should be doing and beating the shit out of Maria. I'm telling you, something needs to happen. I mean, how long do you expect somebody to take that kind of level of abuse? I don't know. I really don't. Because at some point, they're going to have to snap and do something. Otherwise, this is just a wasted storyline. Because the whole thing's annoying, and Maria, in my opinion, is the worst thing in TNA. She's not entertaining. She's not a good heel. She's just annoying. She's like the Vicky Guerrero of TNA. Contributes nothing to this show. And her voice is just annoying as fuck. And on that note, we cut to Maria in the ring. She's getting ready for her public workout. She's headed to the ring with Allie and Sienna. And here's what unfolds at the public workout.
Attention, everyone! You're about to witness the public workout for the TNA Knockouts Championship match at Bound for Glory. Allie, you are so annoying. You could have said that in like 5 words, but instead you have to go on and on and on and on and on. Can you
workout.
And who is the girl? What's her name? You know what her name isn't important because I am sure that Gail Kim is not as tough as her because I am the greatest champion ever. I got this, girl. I got this. Go. This is such a great opportunity for you. It's amazing. Good luck to you.
How is this possibly going to prepare Maria for Power for Glory? It's a public workout, which isn't a match, by the way. It's just in the caliber of opponent that Maria's going to face against Gail Kim, and I hope that at Bound for Glory, Maria takes the championship off the ring. So, again, a public workout, and there's the conclusion of the workout. So Maria, I don't know, maybe in her own mind has proven something here tonight. She's not in control. Unreal.
I feel so good. I feel fantastic. Probably because I am the greatest knockout champion ever. Hey, bring on my next opponent. Miss Maria, I get you another opponent. Why? Well, you took off your job. Well, you told me to get the next opponent. I never said that. Why would you lie? You are such a liar, and I'm sick of your fake. Maybe I should fight you. Because you're stupid. 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 Now you can remember. There's my opponent right there. Miss Maria, there's my opponent right there. Well, tell you what.
What the hell is this? Oh, it's certainly unusual. And speaking of unusual, next week, the sitcom Unusually Sick actor Alan Sick experiences injustice firsthand when his buddy cheats during a round of golf. It's an all-new episode of Unusually Sick, and all new episodes every Wednesday at 8, 7 Central. First episode is available right now on TopTV.com, and now, well, I don't think Maria knows what to think of her opposition here. Trying to throw kicks here. Maria may have bitten off more than she could chew with this public workout. And now, great shot by Maria. I've got the champion preparing for Gail Kim. And Bound for Glory. Oh, that's a nice move there. Maria thrown off her game a little bit. Oh, yeah.
Oh, you bleeding?
And Maria's in trouble. Gail was for each of feet. Get on the blind side of the shot. It's closer. Doing the dirty work for Maria. Gail coming. Beat the feet. And Gail gets to jump on Sienna. Gail Kim one step ahead of Maria. Getting her driven here. Right on impact.
Wow. Well, obviously, that didn't quite work out the way she wanted it to. Obviously, the first woman that comes out, now, of course, this is some random black chick with blonde hair comes out, and nobody really knows who she is. They don't even give her name. She just goes out there, gets her ass kicked by Maria, who cheap shots her. And then she's bragging on the mic. The next thing you know, this random ninja woman comes out, turns out to be Gail Kim, attacks Maria. And then Sienna gets in the ring and saves Maria. She escapes. Gail Kim hits Sienna with her finisher, and Maria's leaving up the ramp angry and pissed off. And, Allie's standing behind her looking all astonished like, ooh, because that's a pretty good shot. So basically, Maria's pissed off because she now knows that at Bound for Glory, she's got to go one-on-one with Gail Kim. And we know there's going to be a lot of fuckery. Sienna's going to get involved in some way. Allie's going to get involved in some way. Maria's going to rig this. Somehow this match is going to be arranged so that Maria is mostly going to run from Gail Kim and not actually, fight Gail Kim. That's usually where all of this craziness is going to happen. So obviously that's why I truly believe that at Bound for Glory, Allie is going to turn on Maria. She's got to. She has to do that. She can't not turn on Maria. There's no way after Bound for Glory that even if Gail Kim wins, that Allie's still on her team. No more accidents. It needs to be intentional. Just Allie fed up with Maria's shit. And then Allie moves on to facing Maria, and Gail Kim moves on with the Knockouts Championship, and then we got new rivalries, and we can all be happy again. Especially when we need to eventually turn their attention to Brandy Rhodes and Cody. Now that Cody's coming in. So now, then of course, speaking of Cody, they do re-air his Bound for Glory announcement, so he will be there this Sunday. Looking forward to that. And then, of course, next week's Impact is labeled The Road to Glory, just days for the pay-per-view. He then goes through the entire lineup for Bound for Glory 10 days from now, and a brief video shown of Cody posing in the hype video in front of everything. So we got all these matches scheduled to take place. We got TNA's Gail Kim in the Hall of Fame induction, and just all the craziness that's going to go down at Bound for Glory this Sunday, only on pay-per-view. There's no network show. You actually have to order this on pay-per-view, which Frank has told me that he has ordered this on pay-per-view. So once again, Zach and I will be going to his house this Sunday to watch the show. And then we move on to the main event of Bound for Glory. I mean, not Bound for Glory, but the main event of Impact for the evening. Bobby Lashley and Mike Bennett versus EC3 and Moose. And as all four men look to battle immediately, Mike Bennett's kind of running away from the ring. He heads to ringside, basically leaving Bobby Lashley to fight for himself. He heads to the rampway to get Bennett and gets in his face to get him back in the match. So basically, Lashley's like, don't make me do all the work. Get your ass in here too. So we see a great back and forth action between all four men. It's mostly Bennett trying to hide behind Lashley, and Lashley telling him, be your own man, stand on your own 2 feet, and fucking help me. And then, of course, in the end, Moose is in the ring, and he's on fire. And then, of course, we got EC3 and the Miracle, last two in the ring. The Miracle goes for his finisher. EC3 counters to a sunset flip. 1, 2, 3. The winners of the match, EC3 and Moose. So EC3 gets a surprise sunset flip on Bennett and gets the pinfall victory, which I find to be very interesting. The fact that ever since Mike Bennett pinned EC3, he has not been able to beat EC3 since then. Which I do think EC3 is going to have to take a pinfall or submission loss at some point. One more loss at some point. Whether it's against Lashley this Sunday, depending on whether or not Lashley holds on to the title, which I don't think he will, or when EC3 does inevitably lose the TNA World Championship should he win it again. So the match itself was pretty decent, but not a lot of crazy action in this match, except Lashley trying to go after EC3's heavily bandaged ribs. But you know what? I wasn't expecting a lot out of these guys in this main event. Why? Because I know they're building towards Bound for Glory. And we need to make sure these guys are healthy enough for Bound for Glory. So they need to be very mindful and very careful about what they do, because you can't jeopardize the pay-per-view. So then, of course, after the match, Moose goes after Mike Bennett, and they battle up the rampway. Meanwhile, in the ring, Lashley goes after EC3 and his injured ribs. Security runs in the ring to break everybody up. Both Lashley and EC3 end up beating up the security members and clear the ring of them. Then they go back to fighting each other. Then the locker room empties out. The X Division guys run out to the ring to break these two men up. All of a sudden, out comes Billy Corgan, who decides to make a special announcement regarding the Bound for Glory main event, as well as next week's Impact.
We're not going down like this right now. Okay, I think of myself as a smart businessman. Okay? The fans deserve something special, and this is not what we want. Next week, a special edition of Impact. We're going to start Bound for Glory 3 days early. The road to glory. Lashley, EC3, you want to raise the stakes? I'll raise the stakes. Each of you will captain the team. The winner gets to pick the stint at the World Championship match at Bound for Glory. Oh, wait, one more thing. 6 times of steel. Lethal lockdown. Pick up the final action for House for Glory. EC3 versus Lashley. Lethal lockdown.
Holy shit. So now we know we've got Lethal Lockdown, which normally we have to wait for the Lockdown special edition of Impact, which used to be a pay-per-view, before we see that. But now we already know. We've got 6 Sides of Steel, Lethal Lockdown tonight on Impact. So even though it says next week, you have to remember this is last week's show. So tonight on Impact is 6 Sides of Steel, Lethal Lockdown. And apparently it's going to be 4-on-4 according to the picture that's posted up front. Yeah, 4-on-4 Lethal Lockdown. So it'll be a team of 4 against a team of 4. EC3's got to pick 3 guys. Bobby Lashley's got to pick 3 guys. They're going to fight each other. And whoever wins, basically if EC3's team wins, EC3 picks the stipulation for this Sunday. If Bobby Lashley's team wins, Lashley gets to pick the stipulation. So not only is it going to be intriguing to see who EC3 and Lashley select for their respective teams, but it'll be even more intriguing to see who they pick for the remaining, who they're going to pick, which stipulation they're going to pick for the main event. And are they going to use people that are already involved in matches at Bound for Glory? Like, are we going to see, is it going to be the team of EC3, Moose, Aaron Rex, and maybe Broken Matt Hardy on a team? Because I can't think of another singles match on top of my head. And then we got Bobby Lashley, The Miracle, Drew Galloway, and maybe Abyss or Crazy Steve. Like, that's what I think would be the Lethal Lockdown. That way you've got the main matches represented on the card already. That way you got, you got everything you need. You got everything you can pick. You got, everything that's going to go down in this main event. Everything will work. Everything should work out great. So that's how I feel about that. And I think the Lethal Lockdown match is going to be highly entertaining tonight. It's going to be a great match. And I think we're going to find out once we find out what the stipulation is going to be for the world title match, that might make the world title match watchable. And it's a smart move because, like I said before, the tag team title match between the Hardys and Decay is the one thing that everyone's the most interested in. No one's really giving a shit about everything else in TNA right now. So to have this lethal lockdown and put everything around the world title is going to make the match between Lashley and EC3 watchable. This puts the world title at the forefront. And it's the only way you're going to make this the main event of the evening. Because even though the Hardys and Decay are not the main event, they're going to be as close to the main event as you can get. Why? Because it's the most anticipated match. I've said it before and I'll say it again. That's the match I'm looking forward to the most out of everything else that happens at Bound for Glory. That has my attention the most. No doubt. All right, and that, ladies and gentlemen, will wrap up this recap of TNA Impact Wrestling. It was a hell of a great show. Big bombshell announcement with the announcement of Cody Rhodes. And, of course, TNA Impact will air tonight on Pop TV. And I will be doing a recap of tonight's show tomorrow on the Boochcast, guaranteed. And, of course, also, there will be a recap of Bound for Glory on Monday's show. So I'll be recapping tonight's episode of Impact tomorrow, and then Bound for Glory, Zach and I will be here recapping that show as well as Season 4 of The Arrow. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take a break here, and when I come back, I'll have your recap of NXT here on the Boochcast. So sit tight. I'll be back right after this.
If you like Horror Night from 2 years ago on Movie Internet Channel, USA.com and YouTube.com, you type in Horror Night. Get her. Oh yeah, me Rottweiler. Oh yeah. That's on Movie Internet Channel, USA.com. Just click Horror Night, and on YouTube.com, just type in Horror Nights. Sarah Killing Sam. Oh yeah. Horror Night Part 2 coming out October 1st. At 12 midnight, Movie Internet Channel, USA.com from page and YouTube.com. Just type in Horror Night Part 2. Starring Serenity Rose, Commodore Rosati, Daniel and Karen Quick, James Buddy Love Herring, Jerry Truman, Vinny the Booch, Bucci, and Sonny Bucci. Hey, honey, how was your day?
Good. How are you doing?
When you be at work?
I'm pretty fine.
So what's for dinner?
We're going to go out. I didn't have to go get ready.
Okay.
Oh!
Good job. What do you think? Good. Very good.
Do you see her? What is she doing here?
See what? What are you talking about?
The ghost of Lena.
Hey man, I'm gonna head out tonight. Just gonna take a shower first real quick. Get ready to myself. I don't think so. Wait, what? Why? You're my brother. You're my deceased brother. Why did you do this? No! Rottweiler will be free by work. And Joe Bag, starring as Mayor Gage.
Mayor Robert Gage, here in my office, in one of the many fine cities in Massachusetts. I advise all viewers to go home.
Yeah, I got that money. I got the money being a waiter. Got the money being a waiter. Ooh, can't wait to spend it. Don't know what I'm gonna be doing with my tips.
Here's him, and starring the late Vincent Mayor Buddy Cianci.
All right, more details on the infamous Killer Rottweiler on the Buddy Cianci Show. Next, so stay tuned.
Horror Night Part 2 coming out October 1st at 12 midnight. Movie Internet Show deals that come from page and YouTube.com to type in Horror Night Part 2. Rottweiler's here.
Hello, and welcome back to the Boochcast. During the break, we played the trailer for the upcoming movie Horror Night Part 2, which is written, directed, and starring my good friend, Mr. Derek Shapiro. This is one of the many Derek Shapiro films that Derek has made, and is the next in line of ones that will be coming out very, very soon. In fact, Horror Night Part 2, as I mentioned, comes out this Saturday, October the 1st, on movieinternetchannel.yellowsite.com, as well as the Movie Internet Channel YouTube channel. It also stars the rest of the Derek Shapiro crew: Serenity Rose, James Buddy Love Herring, Joe Bag, and of course, myself, Jerry, my good friend Jerry Truman, and former Boochcast co-host, and of course, my own brother, Sonny, is also in Horror Night Part 2. So definitely make sure you guys check it out. Now, if you have not seen the first Horror Night, I highly recommend going to movieinternetchannel.yellowsite.com and the Movie Internet Channel YouTube channel and watch the first Horror Night. From now till Saturday, make sure you, at some point before Saturday, watch the first Horror Night. Because if you watch the second one without watching the first one, then you're going to be confused and not know what's going on. So make sure you guys watch the first Horror Night. If you got time today, if you got time tomorrow, watch it. And then make sure you watch Horror Night Part 2 when it comes out Saturday on the Movie Internet Channel.yellowsite.com, as well as the Movie Internet Channel YouTube channel. Make sure you check out Horror Night Part 2. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, also let me remind you guys that this Saturday as well, Saturday night, I will be performing at the Spice Bistro Bar and Lounge, located at 2857 Buford Highway Northeast, Atlanta, Georgia, 30329. Tickets are $10. Right now, they're going to cost more at the door. So what you want to do is, to save money, go to www.mohoganyroots, mohoganyroots.com/featuring-Vincent-Bucci-and-more.html. Go to that site. Make sure you give them your name and number. That's all you have to do. And enter the 5-digit invite code. And the invite code for me is 777C9. That's important. That invite code is 777C9. The letter C9. Type that into the promo package, and you will get your tickets ready and your tickets saved to come on down and check out the Booch in all of his glory. So also, in addition to stand-up comedy, there will also be spoken word poets, neo-soul, reggae, and R&B singers. So this is basically a showcase of a majority of talents, and I'll be one of the talents showcasing my skills at the Spice Bistro this Saturday night. So make sure you guys come down. Doors open at 8 o'clock. Show starts at 9 p.m. Free parking before 10 p.m. So make sure you get there before 9 so you can see the show, because I don't know what order I'll be going on. But if you get there after 10, you're going to have to pay to park. So make sure you get there as early as possible. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we will now commence with the recap of NXT. And NXT kicks off with an announcement from William Regal, who wants to talk about something very big returning to NXT. And here's what the GM had to say.
A year ago, our industry lost a legend. An NXT founding father and a true friend, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. And in honor of the Dream, we created the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. A year ago, our industry lost a legend, an NXT founding father and a true friend, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. And in honor of the Dream, we created the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic Tournament, something that I know Dusty would have been very proud of. And it was so successful, we've decided to do it again this year. 16 teams, a single elimination tournament. And the finals of that tournament will be held at NXT TakeOver Toronto. In the next few days, the brackets will be revealed on social media. And the first round matches will be seen right here next week on NXT.
All right. So that's the big announcement. The Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic is returning. Now, obviously, this is going to be intriguing, seeing as how there's not a lot of tag teams in NXT. So you can expect to see a lot of people thrown together. You can see a lot of people getting combined into tag teams and so on and so forth. There's going to be a lot of craziness involved in this Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. And the one team, there's a lot of, and obviously I talked before about certain people forming tag teams and doing well. And, you know, I would love to see Cedric Alexander and Rich Swann form a tag team. Assuming that they're both still in NXT. I don't know. But I also know that, you know, everybody the one tag team everybody wants to see is Bobby Roode and Austin Aries as the Dirty Heels. You know, put them back together, let them go for it. And that's what I would do. I would have the Dirty Heels go all the way, win the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, and then go on to become NXT Tag Team Champions. And then let them be champs for a good long while. And then, you know, and obviously I would have them beat DIY to make that happen, because I already know DIY has plans, you know, for to go after the Revival. And I think that's going to happen at NXT TakeOver Toronto. Now we know that the next NXT TakeOver show, we don't know when it's going to air, but we know it's going to be in Toronto, Canada. So Canada is getting NXT. And it's going to be intriguing to see. And, you know, it's going to be ridiculous. It's going to be insane how this tag team class is going to play out. And I honestly think that DIY at TakeOver Toronto, that's when they're finally going to become the tag team champions. And they need to. Because the Revival has done enough as tag team champions. They're doing nothing on NXT except boring the audience to death. Or at least I'm being bored to death. So other people might like them, but I, for one, am getting fed up. But on that note, we're going to move on to the first official match of the evening, which is Ty Dillinger going one-on-one against Angelo Dawkins. Now, this match was actually pretty good. Ty Dillinger and Angelo Dawkins have great chemistry in the ring together. There was good back and forth action. There was a lot of taunting in this match where, you know, Dawkins does this thing now where he's like out mixing something up with his hands and then is going for a move, and then Dillinger flips Dawkins over, does the 10 chant thing, and then steals Dawkins' mixing taunt, which causes more fights and everything else. Then, of course, Ty nails an inverted atomic drop and a clothesline before stopping Angelo in the corner. Then he connects the tiebreaker. 1, 2, 3. The winner of the match, Ty Dillinger. And I kind of figured Ty was going to win because I know they're not pushing Angelo Dawkins, who's now going through, I think, his 3rd or 4th gimmick change. It's like they almost don't know what to do with Angelo Dawkins. Or they're giving Angelo Dawkins the freedom to try different gimmicks and then see what works for him. And I guess they're giving him some kind of freedom over what he wants to do. And then also at the same time, he's trying to, you know, find himself. And I think that's what's great about NXT. They let you experiment and try new things and try to find yourself and try to make you comfortable in your own skin. Because that is the key to success in this rate. And on that note, Ty Dillinger, after the match, he's celebrating. He's going up the ramp when all of a sudden Bobby Roode's music plays and Bobby Roode comes out to confront Ty Dillinger. And here's what Bobby has to say to the Perfect 10.
Wow! Ty Dillinger! Ty! That was simply impressive. It was impressive. You know, you call yourself the Perfect 10, but for me, I mean, you're not quite a 10 yet. I mean, I see a lot of potential in you. I think with the proper guidance. Hey, listen, whoa. Hey, calm down. Look, you've known me for a long time, okay? And I came to NXT for many reasons. But the main reason, the number one reason why I came to NXT was to compete and to win the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. Yeah. I need to be a part of that, Ty. I need to be a part of it. Hey, look, since I got here, I haven't made very many friends with Bucks because to be in this tournament, I need a partner. But I don't just need any partner. Ty, I need the perfect partner. I know you don't like me very much, but think about it. I know how close you were with Dusty Rhodes. So think about it. The winners of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, Bobby Roode and Ty Dillinger. Now that just isn't a perfect 10. That, Ty Dillinger, is perfectly glorious. Hallelujah! The greatest tag team of all time has just been formed before our very eyes.
Yeah. Greatest tag team formed before our very eyes. Well, obviously that threw my earlier theory out the window. But let me just say, I'm not happy about this. I'm not at all. I think this was really fucking stupid. It was. I'm sorry. Bobby Roode and Ty Dillinger. Are you fucking kidding me? First of all, where do I fucking start? Not only is this the dumbest tag team I've ever seen get formed in my lifetime, but Bobby Roode is a heel. Ty Dillinger is a babyface. Why are they teaming up? Do heels and babyfaces just not matter in wrestling anymore? Are we just throwing that out the window? And I heard Ty Dillinger mouth the words, I'm doing this for Dusty. I get that. But why? First of all, you have Bobby Roode and you have Austin Aries, who are already an established tag team. They've teamed together in TNA. And I know. We're not supposed. WWE doesn't want to talk about TNA unless it's on the Stone Cold podcast. I get that. But what WWE needs to understand, and I expected better from Triple H. I really did. This is the kind of shit I would expect Vince to do. This is not the kind of shit I would expect Triple H to do. Triple H actually watches other companies. He knows what's going on. And you can't tell me he doesn't know anything about TNA, because if he did, he wouldn't be trying to bring broken Matt Hardy in. Why would you not pick the Dirty Heels? You see on social media, people wanted that. The second Bobby Roode entered TNA, people saw him as the future. They wanted to see him as X Division champion. And they wanted to see a reunion with the Dirty Heels. Yeah, of course, if James Storm, I don't know what the fuck he's doing anymore, but if he had stayed in NXT and never went back to TNA, we would want to see Beer Money in this Tag Team Classic. You could have had Beer Money as well. But James Storm's in TNA now. We don't know if he's ever coming to NXT. I'm sure he will if TNA goes out of business, but he's making no plans anytime soon to do that. But you have an opportunity to form the Dirty Heels. That's what should have been done. That's what needed to happen. And I'm not even saying the Dirty Heels had to win the Tag Team Classic. Would have been nice. Nice little plus. But we don't need Ty Dillinger and Bobby Roode. Why does WWE insist on just throwing random idiots together? How is that a tribute to Dusty Rhodes? Someone please tell me. But this was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I already don't want them to win. Just based on that. That was the dumbest shit I ever saw in my life. And I expected better from NXT. But that is a clear dropping of the ball right there. A blatant dropping of the ball. And on that note, we're going to move on to the next segment here. We cut to the backstage area with Hideo Itami, who in the main event is facing Lince Dorado, who most of us know from the Cruiserweight Classic. And here's what Hideo has to say about his opponent in the main event.
Hideo, tonight you will be facing the debuting Lince Dorado. What is your mindset heading into this match?
I'm looking forward to facing him. He's a great athlete, great fighter. Also, he has heart, unlike Austin Aries. He said he's a man, but I don't think so. He's just baby, coward. Maybe I need to put him to sleep again.
Damn. Well, obviously, no respect for Austin Aries from Hideo Itami. And, I'll be honest. I can't say I don't blame him. I really don't. I'm just being real. I can't really blame the guy too much for, feeling that way. I mean, he makes a very valid point. that you can't really argue with. You know, Austin Aries is kind of running from him and threatens to put him to sleep again. And like most people, I'm glad that Hideo is finally using the GTS and they're comfortable with him using it. And, you know, they've accepted the fact that that's probably their way of saying, you know, I still see it as a fuck you to CM Punk. Like he's never coming back. And I think it's blatantly obvious at this point, CM Punk is never coming back. He's never getting back into wrestling. We do know he's going to be in UFC again. We do know he's going to have another fight. We don't know when that fight's going to take place, but we do know that Punk obviously has a lot of training to do, and he has really humbled. I think this was the most humbling experience that Punk has ever gotten after spending 2 years of training while also being a bit of an arrogant jackass in interviews. So there's a lot of people that, you know, are that wanted to see Punk win, but just to shut up Conor McGregor. But in a way, Punk did kind of get what he deserved in that UFC fight. For all the badass talk. But anyway, on that note, we move on to the next segment here. The Ely brothers make their way to the ring, and the NXT Tag Team Champions Dash and Dawson are about to enter the ring next. They're about to have a tag team match. All of a sudden, Samoa Joe runs to the ring and takes out the Ely twins before the Revival can get in the ring. He hits both of them with several sentons, and then Dash and Dawson just raise their hands and they leave. They kind of back up, like, Joe's mad. We got no beef with you, man. We leave it. So Joe kind of spares their lives. Then Joe grabs a microphone, and here's what he has to say about messing up this tag team match.
William Regal, what you see here are the first two victims of your inability to make a decision. I warned you, and you chose not to heed my warning. So the beatings will continue until your decisiveness improves. Great Nakamura, or hand me my championship. I don't think we can do that anymore. We ain't leaving now.
I think Samoa Joe was crystal clear with what he wants from Regal. And obviously, the promo was very passionate, very well done. Liked what I saw here. I'll be very honest. I like the fact that they're continuing with this storyline. And I'm intrigued to see how it ends. Because he's saying, either bring me Nakamura or hand me the championship. That's what I like most about this. The fact that it's not just about give me the belt or I'm going to lay waste to the roster. I'm saying if Nakamura can't wrestle, then I want the championship. So that's what he's saying. So if Nakamura is somehow able to come back and agrees to step in the ring with Samoa Joe, Joe will be fine with that. And it definitely puts William Regal in an awkward predicament because now it looks like Samoa Joe is going to be doing this week after week after week. And I think this is all going to lead up to NXT TakeOver Toronto. I think in Toronto, we're going to see Nakamura and Samoa Joe one more time. The question is, who is going to win? And will that affect any call-ups? Like, if Nakamura defeats Samoa Joe, is that going to lead to Samoa Joe getting called up to the main roster? And seeing as how we're at the end of September, We're about to enter October. I don't know when the TakeOver Toronto show is supposed to take place. I don't know if it's in November or December. But if it's in December, what I think would be good is that if you're going to call up Samoa Joe, if you're going to call up Joe, make him a surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble. That's how you call up Joe. Have him show up in the Rumble. He doesn't necessarily have to win the Royal Rumble, but I say you bring him into the Royal Rumble. Let him dominate for a while until somebody outsmarts him and throws him out. Maybe Kevin Owens. And then you build a rivalry between Joe and Owens. Now, that's, of course, assuming that Kevin Owens is not the Universal Champion going to the Royal Rumble. He might be. I don't know. I don't know how long they plan to let Kevin Owens be champion. I know we got till Hell in a Cell to really find out. That's what I know for sure. We got till Hell in a Cell to figure everything out. So we'll see what happens at the Cell. But Samoa Joe is clearly on the warpath, and it's looking pretty good. And on that note, we move on. They do another promo for this guy, Dan Matha, who's going to debut next week on NXT. So we'll find out more about him. Just another big guy. And then we got our next match of the evening. Oh, dear Christ. Mandy Rose versus Ember Moon. And by the way, I want to apologize for last week when I forgot or couldn't find the clip of Ember Moon, and obviously, sorry, I lost my train of thought, but I'm sorry I didn't have the clip for last week because obviously this was Mandy Rose calling out Ember Moon, which was the dumbest shit on the planet because I'm sorry. Mandy Rose is abysmal. I can't wrap my head around the fact that this bitch has a contract in WWE. I can't wrap my head around it. I can't even imagine this. I still can't figure out for the life of me why. I'm watching this match, and it's basically Ember Moon carrying Mandy Rose to an excellent match. This was basically the Ember Moon show, where she just runs over Mandy Rose. Mandy is terrible in the ring. She's sloppy in the ring. I give her credit. She knows how to properly play. The only thing she did right was when that top rope stunner move that Ember Moon does, where she goes on the top rope, does a flip, and catches the person with a stunner. I give Mandy credit. At least she knows where to properly place herself to take a hit. So she's good at selling. I'll give her that. But she sucks at everything else. This was a terrible match. Ember Moon ends up winning. And like I said, I believe that Ember Moon is going to be the one to dethrone Asuka. Assuming Asuka is even going to allow herself to be that way. And she doesn't just end up getting called to the main roster and declared undefeated. Which I think is what's going to happen. Either Ember Moon's going to beat her or Asuka's just going to be undefeated and go to NXT. And be the only undefeated champion and women's champion in NXT history. And on that note, we move on to the next segment here, which is Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa DIY are being interviewed. Obviously, they're going to be a team together in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. And here's what they have to say about competing in the Tag Team Classic once again.
And also, Johnny, at the Cruiserweight Classic, you said that you would send a message to the Revival, and you did, during and after.
It felt good to send the Revival running off into the night. But something's missing, right? Something's missing. What's missing? We have a checklist filled with unfinished business. Do you have a checklist? The Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic is very special for Johnny and I. That's how we entered this company 1 year ago. We didn't win it 1 year ago. But that's where the journey began. And the first thing I see on that checklist is win the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. Check. Number 2 on that checklist, beat the Revival. Check. And number 3, that's dear to our hearts because we're just a couple of the kids living out our dream. We won the people over. We earned our spot in NXT. And now we make the impossible oh so possible. Because number 3 on that checklist says, you ready for it? Win the NXT Tag Team titles. You want to do the honors? Check.
Just like Jericho, they got a list. They checked it twice, but they're not going to be sitting on anyone's laps. Still can't believe Jericho said that on Raw. But anyway, loved this interview. And it's true. Gargano and Ciampa first came into NXT during the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. I think they actually made it to the finals. I can't remember if they have or not. I think they might have made it to the finals, I think. Because I know Finn Balor and Samoa Joe won the Tag Team Classic and then eventually broke up and their friendship ended. But DIY, they could potentially win the Tag Team Classic. I would love to see that. Now, obviously, if they make it to the finals of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, then that would probably mean they wouldn't get the shot at the tag team titles either. So that's why I don't think they're going to win the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. I think they're going to be in a match and they're going to lose. And then the Revival, who might also be in the Tag Team Classic, I think they're going to lose. And then they're going to end up fighting each other for the tag team belts. Or we could see something even crazier where the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, the finals are DIY and the Revival, and then they throw in a little sweetener and put the tag belts on the line. And then DIY at the same time wins the second annual Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic and the NXT Tag Team titles on the same night. That would be an awesome way to book the show. It would put DIY over tremendously. It would crush the Revival to the point where they would have no choice but to go to the main roster, to either Raw or SmackDown. And that would give DIY the perfect push and the Revival the perfect send-off. And then they go to Raw or they go to SmackDown, although I'm pretty sure they probably go to SmackDown. I think they're going to need that help more than anything. But either way, they go to the main roster and win tag team titles up there and get a decent push and do really well. And then DIY stands dominant as the tag team champions and the winners of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, which makes DIY automatically the top tag team there. So I think that's what they should do. That's what I think should happen. Make them both happen. That way, their whole checklist is done in one night. In one night, they win the Tag Team Classic, they beat the Revival, and they win the Tag Team titles. That's a great babyface story ending right there. and this rivalry needs to come to an end. So let it end, I say. And on that note, we're going to move on to the next match of the evening. We cut to the Authors of Pain versus Two Jobbers. This match lasts about a minute. Basically, these guys, Akeem and Razor, just lay waste to both these guys. I mean, they pretty much just beat the hell out of these guys, dominate them, embarrass them, and pins them for the 1, 2, 3. So once again, this is basically a match that's like, it's a snooze fest. You know what's going to happen. But there was an interesting thing. Paul Ellering finally has a microphone in his hand, and he finally speaks. Now, the first time technically Paul Ellering ever spoke was during a backstage interview after domination, and the lady was trying to get a question or some thoughts from Paul, and Paul just went, "In due time," and walked away. I think that's badass, just in due time. And he walked away. Well, I guess now it's due time. Because here's what Paul Ellering has to say after the match.
The first chapter began with the arrival. The next chapter will unleash a plethora of demons. And for now, that is all you need to know. That is all you need to know.
Paul Ellering not got anything too much here about the Authors of Pain, but the tag team division has been put on notice in a massive way. That is all you need to know.
That's all we need to know, apparently, and I like it. Paul Ellering finally speaks, gives us a bit of lets us in on a little bit on the mystery of it all, and then finally we witness Paul Ellering speaking, talking about the arrival, talking about the beatdowns, and talking about what we need to know. So I think what's going to happen next is this could be another tag team that could potentially win the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. And I definitely see these guys being future NXT Tag Team Champions. The Authors of Pain, with all the dominating they've been doing, if they don't win the tag team titles at some point, then you're pretty much wasting their time as well as everybody else's. Because because the thing about it is enhancement matches are great and all, but after a while, there comes a time where people just get bored and fed up with them, and they eventually lose their value. So they need to be very careful with how they book the Authors of Pain and make sure that they don't overdo or oversell what's going on. And on that note, we're going to cut to the backstage area with William Regal, who obviously has been threatened earlier by Samoa Joe. And Joe has the demands. Either bring me Nakamura or bring me my championship. And he's being very vocal about that. So, and then, of course, he's also asked about the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. And here is what William Regal has to say about both these topics.
Samoa Joe has been on somewhat of a warpath lately. Are you able to provide any type of an update? 60 seconds. Nakamura?
Unfortunately, Charlie, no, I'm not. I'm going to put this. As you know, Shinsuke Nakamura is somewhat different, and he's not exactly somebody easy to get hold of on the phone. And unfortunately, that's all I can tell you at the moment. Sorry.
Well, do you have any information on the teams that are going to be involved in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic?
No, that I can't help you with.
That better include us. Mr. Regal. Mr. Regal. See, Murphy has cleaned up his act now. Yes, cleaned up his act. Now we're ready to go back up to the No, it was you. No, it wasn't you. I already did. Listen here. When we were there, I was the quarterback. Yeah, I was the quarterback. Yeah, I was doing it. Gentlemen,
Please, it's obvious that you don't have your act together, and so I suggest you go and sort that out. Please, I've got things to do. Please.
You did that? You messed up. No, you messed that up. No, you had that. No, that's what you did. That was on you, Murphy. That was on you.
Wow. Well, obviously, William Regal doesn't have time for any, mindless fuckery at this point. I guess it's safe to say that he, is done with all the games and the drama and, the heinous fuckery that they're bringing to the table. But one thing I do find the most interesting about this, and what I love the most about it, is the fact that this show and this Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic is William Regal taking seriously. And obviously, he doesn't know what's going on with Nakamura. We don't know. We also know that he doesn't plan on bowing to the demands of Samoa Joe, which is going to make Joe even angrier. And we know that apparently Blake and Murphy won in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. And, what the way I look at it is, Blake and Murphy, you're going to have to put them in there. Because why? We don't have a lot of tag teams. I've said that a million times. Blake and Murphy should have never broken up in the first fucking place. So now, Blake and Murphy are trying to figure out how we're going to get back on the same page. We're not getting along. You're blaming each other when really you should just say, look, we've both fucked up. We're both terrible. Let's get back together and make ourselves not terrible anymore. Let's be the tag team that we once were. Because they are former NXT tag team champions. But, I don't know what's going to happen with this Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. There's a lot of craziness that's involved in this. We don't know how to think about it, how to feel about it, and what the reaction is going to be. But one thing is certain, things are unpredictable. And on that note, we're going to move on to the next match of the evening. It's a non-title match, Liv Morgan versus Asuka. This match was stupid, pointless, and completely buried Liv Morgan. First of all, the match didn't even last a minute. It lasted 54 seconds. Asuka pretty much never got knocked down, took a few punches, but Liv Morgan did nothing. Eventually, Asuka trapped Liv in an arm submission, and she quickly tapped out. It was sad. It was embarrassing. It was humiliating, and it's reminding us that this women's division is now hot garbage. These NXT women are trash. I'm sorry. Except for Asuka and Ember Moon, the rest of this group is trash. There's nothing special here. Nothing. 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 And then, after the match, there's a post interview with Asuka. She's being interviewed in the ring. And here's what she has to say about the women's division.
Asuka, you just defeated Liv Morgan in record time. Who's the next victim on your list? Nobody is ready for Asuka.
Short and sweet, just like the Massachusetts song.
Yep. Asuka's made it very clear. None of you are ready for me. None of you are worthy of me. I've cleaned out the women's division, and she's right. There's nothing special. Like I said, Ember Moon, it's just Asuka and Ember Moon, and the rest of these women suck. This is crap. This is shit. This is a waste of our time. The women's match is now back to being a smoke break or bathroom break or let's go get a t-shirt or some nachos. And on that note, they make the announcement that next week, Andrade Cien Almas and Cedric Alexander will face the Revival in a first-round Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic match. So we now know the Revival is in the match. DIY is in the match. Andrade Cien Almas will team with Cedric Alexander, and Bobby Roode will team with Ty Dillinger. That's what we got confirmed so far in regards to the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. And Andrade and Cedric, not really mad about that. That makes sense. They had mutual respect for each other after that one-on-one match. And besides, Rich Swann, I don't even think is going to be making a lot of NXT appearances anyway. So I'm cool with that. And on that note, we move on to the main event of the evening, Lince Dorado versus Hideo Itami. This match right here was just pure wrestling. That's what we saw out of this. Pure, unadulterated wrestling. These guys hitting moves out of nowhere. Just the chemistry was amazing. These are guys that know how to work together to make a great match, and both have styles that complement each other greatly. You can tell Lince Dorado is more of a high flyer than Hideo. You can tell that Hideo has learned to stay on the mat a lot more, and I think he's just trying to avoid getting injured anymore because he was out of action with a shoulder injury for a long time. So he's trying to adapt his style so that he doesn't have to worry about getting, injured again and having to sit on the sidelines for another year as he tries to build himself back up. But in the end, Dorado does a shooting star press. Itami moves out of the way. Itami boots and kicks Dorado, follows it with a corner drop kick, and then connects with the GTS. 1, 2, 3. The winner of the match, Hideo Itami. Obviously, Hideo's going to win because they're trying to build him up for a match and a rivalry with Austin Aries. And, of course, Lince Dorado doesn't need to be built up for anything right now because he's mostly a guy on the Cruiserweight Classic. So he's not really – he's mostly a Cruiserweight on Raw, so doing something in NXT is not going to help him matters. They just use him to help enhance the other talent, which I like. And then, of course, as Itami celebrates, Austin Aries hits the ring and attacks. Itami tries fighting back, but Aries escapes the ring and poses on the stage before leaving. So it's basically just attack, hit, and run. Cut and run. Austin Aries being a vintage heel and obviously about to go into this rivalry with Hideo Itami, which is looking intense. I still wish him and Bobby Roode would have formed the Dirty Heels, but obviously they're putting them in different directions. But the thing about Austin Aries and Bobby Roode is they're good no matter what you do. So we definitely look forward to one hell of a rivalry from these guys, and I think it's going to build both their careers in the long run. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and that will conclude the recap of NXT. I know we're in overtime, but we still got one more show left before I'll wrap up the show. We're going to jump right into Lucha Underground. That's right. We got Lucha Underground. This is episode 4 in season 3. And basically the show kicks off with a bunch of recap video from last week's show. Last week's shows, different stories. And we open the show with Sexy Star in her locker room. Sexy Star's in the locker room. She's sitting there. She's got her Gift of the Gods championship. When all of a sudden, Dario Cueto shows up, and here's what he has to say to Sexy Star.
I hear you put the magazine doing very well after my brother destroyed it last week. You look worried. Are you afraid for your friend or afraid for yourself?
I will never be afraid again.
I would be if I were you. Sexy, you're caught in quite the quagmire. You can choose to keep defending your title, and odds are eventually you will lose it. But you can prove that you truly are not afraid. And fight my brother for his championship, only to be destroyed, just like everyone else who had challenged him. I take my chances defending the gods if I were you. But have no fear. You won't be defending it tonight, because you'll be fighting alongside 3 other champions, the Trios champions, Phoenix, Jao, and Aerostar, in an Atomicos match against the Worldwide Underground. I'm afraid. I have to go. All the time in the temple. I don't think I've ever formally introduced myself. Johnny don't know. And I'm next. Get to the Gods champions.
Damn. All right. Well, obviously what I love about this is I'm glad to know that Sexy Star does speak a little bit of English, saying she will never be afraid ever again. And, of course, Sexy Star fears nothing, but at the same time, Matanza Cuerto is obviously an intimidating monster. And, the Mac did not do very well against him. And that, of course, is the question. Is Sexy Star going to continue to hold on to that Gift of the Gods championship, or is she going to cash it in for a shot at the Lucha Underground championship? Because that is the advantage to having the Gift of the Gods championship. And if you're not planning on ever cashing it in, then you're really just wasting everyone's time with the Gift of the Gods championship. Now, obviously, you don't want to cash it in right away, but I think at some point, Sexy Star is going to want to cash that championship belt in to take on Matanza Cuerto. Even though it looks like right now, nobody could beat Matanza Cuerto. it just looks like it's pointless at this point to do that. And then, of course, Johnny Mundo looks for Taya. Then she and Sexy Star kind of shake hands and, trying to introduce herself. But then, of course, he's going to be the next Into God's champion. They have the epic stare down. Mundo leaves. Sexy Star kicks the locker in frustration as she's now dealing with the fact that she's got Johnny Mundo going after her Get to the Gods championship, while at the same time the internal conflict about whether or not to defend it against Matanza. And I like the fact that Sexy Star is in this position because, as I mentioned before, Sexy Star is one of my favorites in Lucha Underground. And I have had so much respect for her ever since the No Mas match with her and Mariposa, which, in my opinion, makes Sexy Star the toughest bitch in the. I know that Ivelisse is the baddest bitch in the building, but I think Sexy Star is the toughest bitch in the building. And I think that she should find a way to beat Matanza Cuerto, if anything. Because at this point, there's nobody left. Matanza's run roughshod over everybody. And on that note, we move on to the first official match of the evening, which is Sinestro de la Muerte versus Prince Puma. And obviously, Sinestro de la Muerte is, obviously has an alliance with Mil Muertes. Sinestro de la Muerte used to be in a 6-person team for the Trios Championships before Sinestro de la Muerte killed his other 2 partners when they kept failing him. And he basically remained loyal to Katrina and Mil Muertes. But this match was incredible from these 2. It was a fast-paced, high-flying match. Sinestro showed that he's still got a lot of incredible skills because, let's face it, we hadn't seen Sinestro de la Muerte in a very long time. So it's been a while. So we definitely had to figure out when to bring him back to the fray. I think now is a good time because obviously Mil Muertes and Katrina were watching from far away, watching at ringside as De La Muerte and Prince Puma had their fight. Then Mil Muertes, of course, he runs in the ring, charges at Puma. Puma sidesteps his spear attempt as Muertes falls to the floor. Sinestro tries to take advantage of Muertes' attraction but fails to do so. Puma has a chance to put away Sinestro but refuses to do it immediately. He instead stares down Muertes at ringside, hits Sinestro with Mil's finisher, the flatliner. So he kind of steals Mil's finisher, and 1, 2, 3, the winner of the match, Prince Puma. And then Puma dives onto Muertes at ringside, starts pummeling him. Katrina, and then eventually Muertes gets the upper hand, but then Katrina pulls Muertes away from Puma, and they leave as Puma stands tall in the ring. So, obviously, the opening match, fantastic. Love the action. But I love the fact that Puma stole Mil's finisher and used it to beat De La Muerte. I think that's a genius idea. That's actually very well done. What makes that very well done is the fact that when you step into that ring, you steal someone's finisher on someone else, it's the mind games to make them angry and let them know, I'm coming for you. So this rivalry is now getting more and more intense and more crazy. And I think this is a match that's going to build up and conclude at Ultima Lucha 3. I think Ultima Lucha 3 is when this rivalry will finally come to an end. And it's going to be interesting to see. And then, of course, after that, we cut to the backstage area where we see Cortez Castro walking in to Dario Cuerto's office. And obviously, as we all know, last week or a week or two ago, Joey Ryan decided to betray the LAPD and has now decided to become a double agent for Dario Cueto, basically a crooked cop. And he revealed to Dario that Cortez Castro is a police officer. So now Dario knows Cortez's secret, but Cortez doesn't know that Dario knows because they don't know that Joey Ryan is stabbing them in the back. So here's what unfolds during this awkward encounter.
Want to see me, boss?
I wanted to see how my man, Cortez Castro, is doing. I want to say how sorry I am that we lost Francisco. I want to find the man responsible. And I promise you, I'll do whatever it takes to bring the real killer to justice. It must be great. After all, she's got the parties I have with a cigar. At least I have you, my friend. And you know, life must go on. And so the show must go on as well. I'm giving you the much of your career tonight. With this one for Mr. Cisco.
All right, getting word of an added bonus match here. What about the target swap? Cortez got still following up, he must be fair. How about not knowing you have a match? Having a match with
Uh-oh. Yo soy Pentagon Dark. Es cero miedo. Holy shit. Well, I love that. That's how great Dario is. He could have easily have busted Castro right there, but no. Gives him a hug, tells him wants to make sure how he's doing, says, I'm sorry about what happened to Cisco, and don't worry, we'll find out who it was, Francisco, and we will find out, we will bring the real killer to justice, and not to worry. And then they just stare at each other intently. Cueto tells Castro life must go on, and so the show must go on as well. As he hears his name, comes out to the ring, and then finds out his opponent is Pentagon Dark. So that's what I love about it. Dario's like, hey, I'm not going to let you know that I know, but I'm still going to punish you by putting you in the ring with Pentagon Dark, which is the ultimate punishment, especially since Pentagon Dark is cold, unforgiving, and likes to break bones. So we have the match, Pentagon Dark versus Cortez Castro, and Pentagon Dark finally wins a match. I know Pentagon Jr.'s won a lot, but ever since he became Pentagon Dark, he had not won a match. He still looks strong, but hadn't won a match yet. And now he did. And he made quick work of Castro, beat him down, and as he's beating him down, he just stares down Vampiro at ringside, as Vampiro is no longer his master. And then Pentagon makes quick work of Castro, hits the package pile driver. 1, 2, 3. The winner of the match, Pentagon Dark. And then after the match, Pentagon Dark gets the Fujiwara armbar, and he breaks Cortez Castro's arm. So that means now Castro is going to be out of action for a while. And then he gets on the mic, and obviously his whole promo was in Spanish, so I don't have audio clips of it. But basically what he said was, it doesn't matter who wins between the old man, Chavo Guerrero, or that skinny punk, Dragon Azteca, they will suffer the same fate of broken bones. He says in the ring, he doesn't even respect his own mother because he has zero fear. Cero miedo. The show return, and then of course, after that, the show returns from the break for the upcoming Atomicos match, which is an old Lucha Libre term for a match with explosive elements. Usually refers to the potential of an explosive match resulting from an unlikely pairing. But I think that's kind of weird to call it that because I think they're all friends. Like, basically, the Super Friends, Aerostar, Phoenix, Drago, and Sexy Star, take on the Worldwide Underground, Johnny Mundo, Jack Evans, PJ Black, and Taya Valkyrie. And this match was well done. This was a well done match. The match started off with the women. The fans chanted for both women equally before they began to battle. And the match was amazing. Like, the chemistry between everybody was amazing. Drago and Jack Evans definitely battling each other out. They have a long history together, especially with Jack Evans calling himself the Dragon Slayer. So that was definitely a big feather in his cap. Also, we have Johnny Mundo also getting the chance to fight Sexy Star, because as we all know, Johnny Mundo's gunning for that Gift of the Gods championship because he wants to get his shot at the Lucha Underground Championship. And he knows that no matter how much he whines and begs and complains and cries, Dario Cueto will not give him the title shot. So he knows the only way to get it is to fight for the Gift of the Gods championship. Because the only title shot Dario will give him is the Trios championships. But Johnny Mundo doesn't want the Trios titles anymore. He's already been there, done that. He wants the Lucha Underground Championship and believes he is deserving of it. So, obviously, him making quick work at Sexy Star, so the chemistry, which was awesome. And then, of course, in the end, we see a chaotic match, several area moves to the outside. During this frantic pace, it appears that Taya may have injured her leg as she is screaming at ringside. The commentators make mention of it. Meanwhile, back in the ring, Jack Evans counters Sexy Star and gets a backslide pin. 1, 2, 3. The winners of the match, the Worldwide Underground. So, as I said before, the action was amazing in this match. All the members, basically beating down on Sexy Star at one point. Then, of course, the other three guys coming in to make the save, and it was just a match full of springboard moves and aerial assaults and high spots. And apparently Taya was seriously injured because the Worldwide Underground is celebrating in the ring. Then they stop celebrating. They show concern. They head to the ringside floor to check on Taya. Taya is then carried to the back as the show goes to break. So the question is this a storyline injury or is this a legit injury for Taya? Because if this is a legit injury, this could keep her out of action for a while. And it could also lead to, her not being on TV for some time and whatever. And luckily, Taya is not involved in any rivalries, so it's not going to hurt anything. It's not like Ivelisse or Katrina, who actually have a match scheduled for Ultima Lucha 3. Legitimately, whenever Ultima Lucha 3 actually takes place. So, they got to be very careful with those two, not to let them get too intense or physical with each other. But Ty, on the other hand, doesn't have any storylines. But, don't get me wrong. Obviously, I'm concerned if she's injured. I'm just saying that if she does have to miss some TV, it's not going to hurt the product. It's not going to hurt any future rivalries because they haven't really built a rivalry with Taya. They just had her with the Worldwide Underground. It's just they would be missing their part-time valet. That's really the only issue that we would have with that. But aside from that, the match was amazing. The athletic ability of these wrestlers is phenomenal. And obviously this is going to lead towards Johnny Mundo and Sexy Star battling it out for the Gift of the Gods Championship. And on that note, we cut to the backstage area with Mil Muertes and Katrina, who are with Sinestro de la Muerte in a darkened part of the temple. Sinestro is seated with Muertes and Katrina standing over him. And here's what unfolds between this definitely unholy alliance.
Apparently, he's sorry. Unfortunately, he's failed us for the last time. I want you to do the exact same thing to Prince Puma.
Well, there's something you definitely won't see in WWE or TNA or Ring of Honor. So basically, she kind of snaps the neck of Sinestro de la Muerte. There's electric charge. His soul comes out and then basically Katrina inhales his spirit and then shoots it into, and then inhales the spirit and then exhales it out to Mil Muertes. So now Mil Muertes is now stronger because it's like a Shang Tsung kind of thing. Your soul is mine. So now, and then of course she then gives Sinestro de la Muerte the lick of death and then drops the dead body. And now she says, I want you to do the same thing to Prince Puma. I'd be like, all right, but I'm not licking his face. That's your job, sweetheart. I'll do everything else. So now it looks like Sinestro de la Muerte has been killed. So basically, and that's what we need to remember. This is a TV show revolving around a wrestling program. So stupid shit like this can happen. So Sinestro de la Muerte has been killed. So that means he is done in Lucha Underground. There is no more Sinestro de la Muerte. And now they're just going to be focusing on their rivalry with Prince Puma, which makes all of this a little bit creepy, but somehow still manageable. But on that note, we are going to move on to the main event of the evening, which is Dragon Azteca Jr. versus Chavo Guerrero with Rey Mysterio as the guest referee. This was a great match by two amazing athletes and one amazing veteran in Chavo Guerrero. These guys just counter each other's moves and doing. The whole thing starts off with mat wrestling. It's on the ground, which is great. And then these guys are countering each other's moves. You know, every now and then some of them will mount some offense but shoot the other one down quickly, which is the ongoing story of the match. And then Chavo making a point to Ray's student. At one point, Chavo gets Aztec an arm breaker. Chavo claims that Aztec tapped and starts yelling at Ray. And Ray tells him that El Drago did not tap out, and the match continues. Like, he got the ropes. He grabbed the ropes. And then was like, you know, the match isn't over. Ray threatens to ring the bell when Chavo shoves him. And then Chavo then cheap shots Ray, basically telling him, go ahead, ring the bell, 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 I dare you. And Ray is laying on the mat, and then he gets up. Ray snaps. He punches Chavo in the face. Azteca Rise hits a Hurricane on Chavo. Rey Mysterio counts the fall and still counted it, although he went 1, 2, 3, although the first pin he did legitimately, the second one he did legitimately, the third one kind of came really fast. It was like 1, 2, 3. And then the winner of the match, El Dragon Azteca Jr. After the match, Chavo is irate as Ray raises Azteca's hand in victory. Chavo charges at Ray. Mysterio sidesteps him, hits him with a 619, and the show as Chavo flies out of the ring and retreats to the back as he stands in the ring with Dragon Azteca Jr. Now, Ray, to his credit, was calling this match right down the middle. The only reason Ray struck Chavo Guerrero was because Chavo hit him first. And I've always believed in terms of special guest referees. I say this with referees in general, but it happens more with special guest referees than anything. Because referees still have to be fair and impartial. But I've always believed that if I was a wrestler and I'm special guest referee in a match, I'll call the match right down the middle. If anyone puts their hands on me, I'll whoop your ass. I love the fact that that's how Stone Cold used to act. And I think that's how special guest referees should be. If someone puts their hands on them, they should have the right to retaliate. Just don't throw the first punch. That should be the only rule in terms of that. So obviously the match itself was great. It has a great storyline. We could see a rivalry develop between Rey Mysterio and Chavo Guerrero moving forward, which I think is great. I think Dragon Azteca Jr. is going to be involved in it as well, because now we know that at some point in the future, maybe next week on the show, we could see Dragon Azteca Jr. going one-on-one with Pentagon Dark. So we know the match between them is going to happen down the road, probably next week, like I said. But we now know that Chavo and Ray, they're going to have a rivalry going forward, which, you know, for WWE fans, you're probably going to be like, oh, great, this again. But I think in Lucha Underground, it could be a better rivalry because these guys can do more. They're in more control over their characters. And I don't know who's in charge of booking or owns Lucha Underground, but I'm pretty sure they're going to give Chavo and Ray more freedom to do what they want to do than what they had when the last time they feuded in WWE. I think Lucha Underground is going to give them more to work with. And on that note, we're going to go to the final closing segment where we see Black Lotus, who has been out of action since Ultima Lucha Dos when she had her arm broken by Pentagon Dark. And here's what she has to say about the whole ordeal.
I have destroyed the man who killed you. He no longer walks this earth. But my work at the temple is not done. Before I could take the mask of your killer, stolen from us. And now, Black Lotus Triad to destroy Pentagon Dark and show up. What if you're like,
Okay. I'm very confused by the beginning of this segment. She said, I destroyed the man that killed you. I think they're talking about Dragon Azteca. Like, did she kill Dragon Azteca, or was it the monster Matanza Cuerto that did that? See, now I'm completely confused because she did think that Dragon Azteca killed her parents. Because I know she didn't beat Dragon Azteca Jr. She didn't destroy him at Ultima Lucha 2. They both got their asses kicked by Pentagon Dark and got their arms broken. And I know she's not talking about Matanza, because I see Matanza in the ring during Dario's Dial of Doom. So I'm a little confused as to what she means by that. I'm assuming that she's probably implying that she killed Dragon Azteca. Maybe it wasn't Matanza. Maybe it wasn't Dario that did it. Maybe it was Black Lotus. And that maybe Black Lotus is the one that Dragon Azteca Jr. needs revenge on. So now she said that she has to get revenge on Pentagon Dark, and she's bringing the Black Lotus tribe. So now I think Pentagon Dark, when he faces Dragon Azteca Jr., we can expect interference not only from Black Lotus, but from those ninja warriors that are with her. So I think a whole new thing's about to form. I think Pentagon Dark is going to have some unfinished business with Black Lotus. So now we're starting to see a lot more storylines and plot holes and twists and turns. And that's what I like about Lucha Underground. It's so unpredictable, we don't even know what's happening. And to me, that's what's making this show enjoyable. That's what's making it fun. And that's what makes me look forward to watching Lucha Underground every week. I look forward to Lucha Underground. I look forward to recapping Lucha Underground. And more than that, I look forward to all the fun and excitement that will soon follow from it. This is going to be Lucha Underground Season 3 is doing fantastic. And it's only 4 episodes in. I can't wait to see how this season ends. It's going to be intense. All right, and that, ladies and gentlemen, will conclude the recap of Lucha Underground. Great show, as always. And that, ladies and gentlemen, will also officially wrap up this episode of the Boochcast for today. I want to thank everybody so much for tuning in live. I want to thank everybody listening in the archives. And I'll be back tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. West Coast time, another fun-filled, action-packed episode of the Boochcast. Desmond Dagenhart will be here. I don't know if he'll be calling in, or he might come back and sit with me in the studio again. I'll find out. One thing is certain, though, and I'm going to let Desmond know this, there will be a recap of TNA Impact Wrestling tonight. TNA Impact Wrestling will be recapped tomorrow here on the Boochcast, whether Desmond likes it or not. So until next time, this is Vinny Bucci, a.k.a. The Booch, saying keep on living life and take care. This has been the Boochcast. I'll chat with you guys tomorrow right here on Blog Talk Radio and on YouTube.
To using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.